Alright then. And so today begins with just me, and only me. I apologize, everyone, for the... Unfortunately, it is only I, Sneaky Devil, today. Arr. Yes, unfortunately, I was going to be doing this grand reopening. I would have a new mic with better audio quality, and we would go long periods of time. And that didn't end up happening due to family troubles on Atin's end and family obligations on Max's end, which they both sprung upon me literally about 2 hours ago. Only you. So everyone was way too salty. Have they read Harry Potter? Speaking of Harry Potter, we won't be doing any of that today, so you can all, praise your various gods and goddesses. Anyway, let us begin. Hello, Internet! It is I, Sneaky Devil, back once more on this Friday with Fanfiction Contempt Theater, where I bring to you shitty fanfiction and I talk about it. Sometimes with other people, but those people are mostly gone. It is only I today, as I had previously said. So today we're actually going to start off by covering a Naruto, High School D times D crossover. Don't worry, we won't be reading too much of it. This was just in my personal quest of more fan fiction that I was going to read personally to myself, no one else. Sometimes I stumble upon these things where it's like, okay, this is a decent hook of a summary. I wonder what. Oh God, why? Yes, the anime with big plots, as you could say. High School D times D, for those who are unaware, is a how to say this shitty manga, shitty anime. Good morning, Calvin. Already triggered. Hate that anime. Yeah, no. The novels is the best form of High School D times D, the light novels. Unfortunately, that's not saying much. It's like saying a polished shit is the best form of shit. It's like, yeah, but it's still shit. I dislike High School D times D greatly. It's why I don't read any High School D times D fiction. I read crossovers because I always love seeing the characters go into that universe and just fucking table flip the chessboard. Unfortunately, you also get a lot of shit stories in both the crossover section and the non-crossover section. So before I begin, how's everyone doing tonight? High School D time, you've never heard of it. Well, that's a good thing. That is a good thing. You have benefited in life due to this. So yeah, you've gotten the basic rundown of it. High School of the Dead, yes, that's another shitty one. High School D times D is... It takes place in a high school. The main character is a hyper pervert. Think like Jiraiya from Naruto, but zero redeeming qualities. In fact, his first ability, when he gets turned into a devil, that's a whole thing. Angels, fallen angels, and devils. That's a thing in there. Supernatural, yeah, whatever. It's pretty crap. The power levels are wonky, and the first ability the main character gets is the ability to strip clothes off girls with, blasts of energy. All of the main characters are mostly big-boobed women, and then the guy main character, whose end goal is to create the biggest, boobiest harem ever. And he was blessed by the gods, literally, to have a gauntlet that doubles his strength every single time. As you do if you're a pervy devil. I don't know about that. Yeah. So basically, the main character of High School D times D is a really shit OC that the author may or may not be living vicariously through. Anyway, so let's start with No Good Deed. Now, this isn't, again, I'll reiterate, not a story I'm going to be going through entirely, even though the first chapter is super short. This is mostly something that just really pissed me off that I see sometimes, and I ask, why the fuck is this still a thing? So, you know, the generic-y summary of okayness. They say no good deed goes unpunished, but sometimes a good deed will get you a just reward. I wonder what kind of reward you get for saving the world. A red flag right here, I want to say already, is the power scale now live on my profile. It feels a bit too DBZ for me. I don't know. Again, this is my personal opinions. That's pretty much what you're here for, I suppose. But anyway, so my main... What scale? The scale of Naruto characters and D times D characters, of course. Now let's see if there is a scale on this profile. Let's see, for those curious, the power scales are now live and are as follows. Naruto will have abilities from the Narutoverse, Rasengan, Flying Thunder God, and Super Healing. Cool. I feel like all of his stories are going to be crap, so... No. Naruto and D times D, yeah. This is a crossover, to reiterate once more. So you get to the point, so we can leave this. Look at the dialogue right here. I can't highlight it, but look at the dialogue in the center of the screen. This is not how you write dialogue. Isn't Naruto an orange-haired girl with big tits? No, Naruto appeared on DXD, Disney XD. Oh. No, Naruto as in the anime Naruto, as in the obnoxious blonde with blue eyes and wears orange. No worries, Isley. We just started a little bit ago. This is a High School D times D fic, and I'm just ranting about this fucking dialogue right here. Not Naruto is in Naruto a character like that. An orange-haired, big-headed character in Naruto verse. Let's see, there's Tsunade. She has blonde hair, though. The only orange-haired character I can think of in Naruto is Nagato. Okay, yeah, Tsunade. Yep. Okay, then. There's Sakura, yeah. Sakura is okay. But anyway, back to the point. This fucking dialogue, this is a paragraph of people talking to each other. I know you can't see me pointing, but just imagine me angrily pointing at the screen here. This is not how you write dialogue. Every single time someone talks that is a new person, you need a new paragraph. Because this is literally several different people talking in the same fucking paragraph. And it is literally a paragraph of people talking. There's barely even actions in between the people talking. He forgets quotations sometimes. It's just... This is how he does dialogue for the entire story. Yeah, organization. And what blows my mind and what makes me so agitated, what really activates my almonds over this, is the fact that you can pick up any fucking book out there, any magazine out there, an interview, literally anything with words besides other fan fiction, and you will see how to properly write dialogue. In Germany, that kind of writing is acceptable. Well, we are not in Germany, and this is not in German. This is in English, and in British English, Canadian English, and American English. There is not, at any point in time, that kind of dialogue being acceptable. And this is even if this person does not speak English as their first language, if you are writing for and in a different language than your own native one, say, for example, you, Calvin, if you're writing in English, you gotta follow English's rules. You can't just be like, alright, I'm just gonna copy and paste the Google Translate and keep all of the German word structure, though. That's probably not going to translate well. I don't know German enough, but I'm going to guess it probably wouldn't translate well. Yeah. Okay. So, anyway. Now that I have that out of my system, we're going to move on with this story. Because I wasn't even gonna like read this story out loud. It's a meh plot. The dialogue just triggered me, though. Absolutely triggered me. This is another story that triggered me, and we're going to be covering this one, and then we're going to be moving on to the official story of this stream, which is a Warcraft-Starcraft crossover. For now, this is a Naruto Monster Girl crossover. And for those who do not know Monster Girl, it is porn.
I make my triumphal entrance, having gotten away from the horrible people.
You're just in time for the porn!
What? What? I'm sorry, you wanna... What have I missed? What on earth have I missed?
Well,
Also, I'm sorry, how much of the stream did I left?
Oh, you only missed like 15 minutes. I was waiting for my mic to freaking come. It's like, oh yeah, it'll be here by 8. I'm like, fucking, where is it then? Fucking Amazon guaranteed 2-day shipping my asshole.
So what level of horrid have I missed?
The only thing you missed was me ranting for about 15-ish minutes about this one story that decided to write like 4 different people talking in a single paragraph.
Gotcha. So have you informed our audience that this is the triumphal returning stream?
I did say this was the triumphant returning stream, and that I was really hoping to make this a super long one with all 3 of us here. And then you're all like, yeah, maybe we won't be able to be here. So I'm like, well, I just got to fucking shit on the mic then.
Hold on a minute. I was planning to be here, and then evil, horrible people showed up. That's
fair enough. Calvin, that was the sound of Atin joining us and unleashing his air upon the world.
Unleashing my air upon the world. Interesting.
Alright, so I have, cats biting my leg. Alright, I have, linked out the,
I see. Oh boy, this is gonna make me...
As I was saying, for those who are unaware of what Monster Girl is, Monster Girl Quest is a porn quest, quote unquote. Basically, main character goes around and has to fuck in minigames all of these monster girls.
What?
Or something.
What?
I'm not very aware on what this is.
Okay, wait, is this like the Yu-Gi-Oh? Is this like the knockoff Yu-Gi-Oh thing? But like, it was also like Pokemon, but it was a card game, but in order to evolve them, you had to rub the PS Vita, and it was most definitely sexual?
No. This is just straight up, a porn game. This is straight up a Flash game or something. I'm not quite sure. Again, like I said, I've only seen
we
the
don't
Wikipedia.
have first-hand experience with this.
No, I do not. I've only seen the Wikipedia entry on this because I was like, what the fuck is this? Because one of the authors I follow did write a crossover with it once. A non-sexual crossover, actually. And I was like, oh, what is this?
Oh! It looks like... Sneaky, it looks like Crowbar has joined us, and she's just sitting alone in the Gen chat.
Well, do you want to bring her in?
I don't care. I don't know. Hey, Crowbar, do you want to be part of this terrible stream?
I have created bacon. Well, cooked bacon. I bought the bacon, and then I cooked it.
Creating bacon implies you raised a pig, killed it, butchered it.
So yeah, okay, so according to the Wikipedia page...
Oh, sure. Crowbar wants to join this terrible nonsense.
Alright, I'll bring her in.
Drag her in.
Welcome, Crowbar, to this terrible, terrible nonsense.
We don't know why you wanted to partake of this.
Okay, do you need another person who can nag about something live, vocal, and on Stram? No, we have too many people now. I'm sorry, Atin, you'll have to leave.
You say that like it's a punishment.
Okay, so yeah, according to the Wikipedia entry, Monster Girl Quest is a world. It's a porn game based on a book called the Monster Girl Encyclopedia. It is a world in which women monsters with female forms go around raping humans for their sperm so they can live.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
God damn it, Japan.
I think it's depressing to say that I've heard of this before.
Oh.
I mean, I assume that for you, that's just your Friday night entertainment, Crowbar, playing these kinds of things.
So, this is actually from an author that wrote several other stories that I added to the Just Fucking Dumb section, because he's got an okay idea of plot each time, but he's just so fucking dumb with how he executes it, that I'm just like, I won't read these out loud, but they're dumb.
What else of this man's idiocy have we, partaken?
We have so much.
Really?
All of his stories I could complain about. I could complain about this guy's author page. I could complain about this guy's fucking stories for like a solid 4 hours.
Complaining about the author page is easy. That's one of our things we do for fun. We're like, you know what? Let's see how terrible their author pages are. The answer is usually
like half of the page is pairings and names for them.
And like all the ideas they want more talented writers to do.
Yeah. And then like he's got a rating section, and then some challenges.
I'm gonna say, don't forget their like personal.
Did he write an NCIS fic? Maybe NCIS. Nope. Also, little side note while I'm raging, fuck people who use Jane that are not Japanese. Get your weeb shit out of here. Be gone, thoughts.
No, Crowbar, you don't understand. This is a huge problem that we have, because it annoys us immensely. Like, they'll have written their fic in nothing but English, and they'll have used nothing but, like, if they've used any kind of honorifics, they'll have used, like, Mr. and Mrs. and Sir and Ma'am, and then out of nowhere...
And then it's like the author's note, like, oh, hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed my chapter, Johnny!
No, but even worse than that, the ones who just start throwing in the random honorifics.
Oh, yeah, that too. It hurts my soul.
I mean,
I thought you lacked one.
I was gonna say, we both know that's patently untrue. You have no soul to harm.
Anyway, yes. So, Monster Girl Quest. I'm just gonna add this guy to the just fucking dumb bookmark.
Just the entire.
Just his author page. Yeah. Because I want to get done. I want to get through Summoner of Monster Girl so we can get on to the original one that I queued up that I wanted to actually read and talk about, which is a Warcraft-Starcraft crossover.
I mean, okay, that could be okay.
It's crap.
How do you fuck up Warcraft and StarCraft? They're the
Easily.
same property.
Anyway, so Summoner of the Monster Girls. Naruto finds a mysterious summoning scroll that, although Naruto to summon Monster Girls, will this bring him good fortune or bring elemental nations to its end? A Lemon story, somewhat strong Naruto Monster Girl harem. Naruto times Monster Girl quest times violated hero.
What?
Yeah,
what?
So you're called
what was
the
last one?
Yeah, the main character is called the Violated Hero because he has to out-sex the Monster Girls in his quest to save his land. And if you fail whatever the mini game is or however the fuck you do it, you get raped to death. That's game over. Is you get raped to death.
Oh, I found my friend. Fucking fanfiction.
You found your friend on fanfiction?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Good. Add them to the list.
Undertale and Dying Light.
Oh!
Get it on that list, because I am gonna shit on that!
This.
I was like, hey, my friend writes fanfiction. I don't remember where she posted.
I'm running out of walls I can bang my head against.
We're going to put this her profile at least.
I was gonna say, you don't have access to recording.
Let's just drop it in shitposts.
Yeah,
Shitposts?
yeah.
Alright.
Anyway.
Tell your friend that we're about to shred all of their work and ideas.
He's been my best friend throughout entirety of high school.
Well, that's not lasting long.
We're gonna change that.
I asked her, B-Ward, I have one very questionable fic on there. If non-con makes you uncomfortable.
I mean, it doesn't.
I was gonna say,
not in the way that you think, but it's not.
Here's the thing. For us, you don't understand, Crowbar. For months now,
we've already witnessed 400 anal tearings on a 9-year-old child, Crowbar. Not much more can phase us at this point.
Okay.
We're. I mean, I swear to God, I wish we were kidding that someone wrote that, but
Okay, so I'm just looking at.
I was gonna say the entirety of that
my girlfriend
of that story, Crowbar. It involved Harry Potter first being.
Oh, I think I remember this. I remember you telling me this.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, he was. I don't know. He had like all of his magic powers sealed, and then the Dursleys raped him like 800 times a day.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
He was turned into a cat boy, and Snape wanted some of that cat boy ass.
Oh, no, it gets better.
I remember this. I
actually did the math for it, because the anal tearing is a specific intestinal tearing is a specific medical term.
Yeah.
And so I actually looked up the average child's intestines.
Oh god.
He had more anal tears than he had intestine.
Alright, so I'm looking at my friends. There's only two. There's technically only, like, if you want to go on length, like, there's only one of them that's actually. I don't know. I think I'd call it a story. I'm not reading it, but I'm just looking at how long it is.
Well, being that we only read the first chapter of most stories, length really isn't that big of a
Yeah, like you say, we only come back to a story if we like it.
Oh.
Don't mess with the cat captains, indeed.
Listen, we're not messing with cat captains. We're messing with Snake wanting cat boy dick.
Yes, Isaac, I do in fact do research for academic purposes in science. Oh, watch list? Oh, I am far beyond being on a mere watch list, Isley.
Holy shit.
Wait, what's this? What's this about watch lists?
He's saying that looking this sort of stuff up puts me on a watch list. And I'm just like, I am far beyond just being on watch lists.
Oh, we are so far beyond them.
The amount of things that I have linked and looked up.
It's better if we don't talk about them.
Anyway, into the story.
That.
Actually, that reminds me, before I even actually start, I've been so angry that I forgot to get drunk.
You don't drink.
The can says differently.
What really? What's in the can, Sneaky?
A large amount of caffeine and sugar.
That's what I thought.
It's about as effective as alcohol on me, honestly.
See, but that's what I'm saying. You know, like, I think, like, once we hit, like, 1,000 subs, we should do one where we both just say, you know what?
I'll buy, like, 2 bottles of vodka and just start chugging them during the stream.
I was gonna say, just ship one to me.
Just get massively smashed. But that is something that I've, because I've tried a lot of alcohol. And it's something I've noticed is that I cannot.
Most of it's terrible.
No, it's not even that. I can't stand lighter alcohols. Like it's only like the higher proof sakes and vodka that like I can actually stand to drink.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that makes sense. You being a heavy drinker.
Like beer just tastes like shit.
Well, I mean, beer is just, most beer that I've had is just garbage.
Like I've even had like some like microbrewed IPAs, and it was just like, yeah, this is still garbage.
I was gonna say the only things I've ever actually, I've had a couple different kinds of beer. I hated all those. I've had like 1 or 2 pale ales. I thought those were disgusting. Peppermint schnapps was not terrible. Like, I could drink that. Technically speaking, I did drink a lot of vodka, but there was a lot of Coke in there, too. But yeah.
Yeah, so you do lines of Coke while drinking your vodka?
No, it was Coca-Cola, you moron. And, I don't know if it was just really cheap bad vodka or what, but the guy opened the bottle and it smelled like antiseptic.
Oh, that's vodka.
I was just like,
well, that's just vodka, yeah.
I was like, smells like a hospital in here.
There's a reason why you can use vodka for disinfectant purposes.
I have not.
Crowbar. This is where Crowbar says that she's, of course, she.
You have never drank
not
as
yet
a
an
good.
Adult.
Well, not on purpose.
I've never
Not
drank on
purpose.
purpose. I've
telling
only
me you've been
accidentally
roofied.
drank sometimes.
No, I mean, to be fair, she could have been like roofied or something.
No.
Anyway. Most recently, there had been some interesting news floating around the Elemental Nations. This is why I didn't want to read this story.
Akatsuki. Not
Akutsuki.
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 Jesus fucking Christ.
The Akatsuki had recently been disbanded due to a small civil war amongst their ranks. The 2 leaders, Pain and Nagato, and Toby Obito.
Oh wait, Crowbar, did you get the link for this terrible story?
I don't want it on my computer.
So I did. I'll finish off the paragraph and then start complaining. Killed each other in an all-out massacre. The battle resulted in the deaths of Obito, Black and White Zetsu, Sasori, and Deidara were killed in the crossfire, while Nagato died from overusing his chakra. The only survivors were Konan, Itachi, Kisame, Kazuku, and Hidan. Fun little fact, putting a comma before the and is actually technically what you're supposed to do. Now, this is how this story immediately went onto my shit list. Interesting news floating around the Elemental Nations. Interesting news, really. Floating out of the place that was on such a fucking lockdown that nobody bothered having spies there.
It just floats. It's around.
Like, you sent a spy in and those spies died.
Yeah. So, like... that's my problem, is, like, how did this news get out? Okay, maybe a giant fucking battle, you know, some people ran away or something, or, you know, the Akatsuki members were seen elsewhere, no longer wearing their robes or something. Okay, maybe I'll buy that. But, the main problem with
some of them are not even remotely subtle.
Yeah, but it's just like, okay, how would they know about Toby? And, like... The news that the rest of the world would hear is maybe the leader of the Akatsuki and one of its members clashed and a bunch of people died and now they've been disbanded. At best, that was the news they might have heard. They wouldn't have heard who lived or died. They wouldn't have heard Toby's name. They wouldn't have known that Nagato was the leader.
They wouldn't have known that someone died from chakra overuse.
Because you gotta keep in mind... when this took place, as we'll find out a little bit later, pretty early on. This took place pretty early on in the Naruto timeline. I don't think it was even halfway through the first original Naruto, like pre-Shippuden.
What, in this story?
Yeah, like we are nowhere near like the ending of Naruto.
I mean,
so,
for
like,
crying out loud, the Akatsuki didn't even come up as a group because. And yes,
well, I mean, no, certain sections of the world did know about the Akatsuki because they had been using them, but like,
no, but like, what I'm saying is, but like,
they weren't mainstream news, I guess you could say, among ninjas until like post-Shippuden.
Yeah, because no one knew who they were or what they were doing. It's just like, I hear there's some kind of badass ninjas doing a thing. I'm not really sure. No one's really sure.
Don't know if it's legal yet.
If they're good people, if they're bad people, if they're just out for the money, what?
Oh, no, they're bad people. Everyone knew that.
Okay, I know, but you know what I'm saying. Like, no one knows anything about them.
Yeah, like I said.
But so now they're disbanded and Obito's out in the...
And apparently everyone just knows everything about them, yep. Alright,
yeah.
See ya, Calvin.
Oh, yeah.
You okay there, Crowbar?
I was sitting... weird in my chair.
Oh, okay, cool.
And it's not a comfortable chair at all.
Gotcha.
No one had seen Itachi since that event. Some say he died. Some, no commas. Like, the other problem is this guy's grammar is just horrendous. Around the race arc, beginning of tuning exams, I forget where exactly this started. No, I was wrong. This does take place in between Shippuden and pre-Shippuden. It takes place during the time skip. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still nonsense.
Still, like, yeah, that's still barely into it. Anyway. Conan became the leader of Amakakura. If I fucking fucked that up, oh well. Hid Nagato's body so no one could get their hands on the Rinnegan, so then how did they know he died of chakra exhaustion? Kisame and
How do they even know
became
what the
partners.
fucking Rinnegan is?
Yeah. Like, this is the problem, is if they established this was interesting news floating around. And then they're, like, going into extreme detail that no one but the reader, the author, and, like, maybe one person in the story would actually know.
Yeah, well, because, like, here's the thing. The book The Wheel of Time series, it did a fantastic job of having characters who went around, and what they did was they would piece together world events from spending all their time sitting around bars and taverns. But this is like, they would spend a week in a town, and they would be out literally all night, buying drinks and listening to people in every dive bar in the town,
Yeah.
and they could piece together what was actually happening. And that's fine, because that's actually something that you can do.
Yeah.
But your average motherfucker on the street, he might know the Akatsuki
Maybe.
disbanded. And this other guy over there, maybe he gets... This guy named Obito? Obitao? Obi something or the other. He was important to the Akatsuki. He's dead.
Well, I mean, see, the thing is that, like, halfway through Shepparton is when Toby finally came out as a member, and, like, even the Akatsuki didn't know about Toby then.
I know, but what I'm saying is that, like...
literally, only Conan and Nagato would have known Toby's name, or Toby at all, or knowing that he would have been the leader. Like,
I get that. I'm just saying that this is such hyper-specific information.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so unless they liquored up Conan herself, this news would not have gotten out.
I was gonna say, no one would ever do that.
Yeah. So, like, normally, I wouldn't have a problem with the author being like, oh, right, then this stuff happened. But the problem is they phrased it as if it was news floating around.
Well, yeah, in which case it should be a rumor.
Yeah. Or not even a rumor. Like, the rumor at best would be who died and who lived.
Yeah, but, like, this is... No, just
like,
no.
the news floating around at best would be big-ass battle happened, the leader of AIM might be dead, the leader of the Akatsuki might be dead, some Akatsuki members were seen wandering about without their cloaks on. Like, that would be the kind of news I would accept that people were hearing. Now, if you want to go into detail, you have to disconnect it from your previous statement of it being news floating around.
Yeah. Like, if they'd said, if they'd said news was floating around that X had happened, but then they're like, oh, but Jiraiya, the Toad Sage, or...
Knew better, blah, 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 yeah.
Like, here's the thing, and if they'd said, like, Jiraiya knew better, or, oh my gosh, Giant Tits, Tsunade knew better.
Giant Tits, Tsunade.
I wouldn't call her that, I remember.
Look, it's the easiest word association game I can play about her.
Indeed.
She does far more than that, and she's a very interesting, compelling character. However...
She has giant...
And this is another thing that he goes on. And finally, Hidan was captured experimented on by Orochimaru.
What?
Who the fuck would hear about that?
The fuck?
Like, Hidan was a minor character at best in terms of ninja news. Like, oh yeah, some guy found out how to not die. Oh, that's cool, I guess. Like, people were pretty neutral when it came to hearing about Hidan. Oh, yeah, he was some second-rate, third-rate ninja that found out how to be immortal. Oh, okay.
What?
Like... him disappearing, it would be... Oh, someone might have figured out a way to kill him. Oh, yeah, probably. And, like, that would be the extent of the news. Like, it would be like, oh, did you hear? Hidan of the Akatsuki got captured by Orochimaru?
What the fuck? What?
Nani?
Nani?
Like, fucking... Anyway... Blah, blah, blah. With the threats of the Akatsuki now gone, all the Jinchuriki throughout the elemental nations could rest easy. Literally no one knew about them at this point in time. Like, it was halfway through Shippuden, again, where they were spreading the news, hey, hide your Jinchuriki, the Akatsuki's coming for them. Before that,
hide your kids, hide your wives, hide your tailed monstrosities from the other realm.
Like, literally, they were suppressing news of the Jinchuriki being captured. The villages themselves were suppressing this news because they didn't want the other villages to be like, hey, they don't have one anymore, let's go fuck them up. So nobody knew about this shit that was going on until way later.
Because they didn't want the other villages to know. They're like, hey, maybe if we don't tell them that this is happening, they'll get theirs taken. And then we'll all be back to an even playing field.
Exactly. And it was post-Shippuden, well, post the start of Shippuden, that they finally attacked their first Jinchuriki, Gaara. He was the first one to be attacked. So even if the news went out, hide your Jinchuriki, it wouldn't have happened until post-Gaara, which hadn't even fucking happened yet. So why would the Jinchuriki be feeling relief over something they didn't know about?
The bottom line here is, you're stupid. Your plot is stupid, and your writing is bad.
There's more plot holes in this fucking story than the roads in New Jersey.
There's more plot holes in this than an average Star Wars movie. No? Too much?
We don't talk about that.
Well, we talk about it.
I know.
For some reason, they didn't say our nukes are missing until things started to get really bad. That was around the 5 or 6 of them being captured. Yeah, it wasn't until they tried capturing the 7th one, I believe, that, like, people were like, oh, hey.
Well, okay.
Maybe we should stop them.
I mean, first of all, like I said before, there was, as far as the elemental nations were concerned, there was absolutely no benefit to telling people their Jinchuriki were gone, and all the reason to not let them.
Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is, like, the countries were like, oh, wait a second. They're taking our Jinchuriki. They're also all S-class wanted ninja. Maybe we shouldn't let the super criminals get nuclear weapons.
No, don't worry, the next guy will take care of it for us.
Don't worry, America will come and take care of it.
You mean the Leaf Village?
Which is basically America.
The main character.
Anyway. Black Zetsu gone. Like he goes on to say shit like, with Zetsu gone, Otosuki would never be resurrected, the Jubian would never see the light of day. This brought pure joy to Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Naruto.
Pure joy?
But no one knows about this!
Literally, not even the guy who originally had the idea, Madara himself, to gather the Biju, knew about Kagura's plan. Holy shit! There's more missing content here than fucking Chicago's public school board's budget!
That's harsh, my boy!
That's actually... That's going far. Fuck.
Okay. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. He was the Jinchuriki, we all knew that. That doesn't mean Naruto was going to go light on his training, missing commas. He had to bring Sasuke back and become Hokage. Yeah, okay, fucking great. Naruto
Wait, what? Hold up! Apparently, Edgelord McEdgelord is the Hokage now?
Wait, what?
Did you just say bring back Sasuke to be the Hokage?
Sasuke! Come back, Sasuke!
Sasuke!
You dick. You know what I meant.
No, he has to bring back Sasuke and become the Hokage.
Okay.
It's a to-do list. It's a to-do list. Yeah. He's checking it off.
Rescue Leaf Village criminal, become Leaf Village leader, pardon rescued Leaf Village criminal. I mean, it only makes sense.
I mean, yes.
To-do list.
To-do list. Commit crimes. Become leader of village committed crimes in. Pardon crimes.
I mean, let's be real. We've all done that at least once in D&D.
No. I'm pretty sure my DMs typically killed me before I could get to that point.
Oh.
It wasn't illegal in that area.
I was gonna say, my DMs could never find a good way to kill me without it being bullshit. And so they're like, I can't.
They typically bullshitted on me for
kill
some reason.
him.
Yeah. Alright. Naruto was hard at work and wait. So Naruto was hard at work training and becoming stronger, right? Yep. Missing commas again, changing the entirety sentence. Wrong. The wrong Naruto was pissed.
What? What?
Because there's no comma separating wrong from Naruto, so it's saying the wrong Naruto was pissed. No, he was royally pissed. No, sorry, he wasn't royally pissed, he was ally pissed. Jesus fucking Christ. His sensei Jiraiya of the legendary 3 Sannin, missing a comma there again, comma, no comma there, aka Arrow Sennin did it again. When you're doing it also known as, you don't include a comma there. The also known as is its own form of punctuation. But you would include a comma after Arrow Sennin. Not only did he stop Naruto's training for some whore, because that's how Naruto thinks.
Oh, you say, okay, look, Naruto's an uppity little brat, but, that's, okay.
I don't think
he did occasionally call women whores.
No, he didn't.
No, I'm pretty sure, at least in the English dub, he called at least one of them.
Okay, maybe in the English dub, but not in the subs and not in the original.
Right. I'm just saying, if this person watched the dub, I can see where they would have gotten that information.
Well, they're already on the shit track, so they probably did. Fucking scrub. Let's see. Naruto's training, autographs in private. Yeah, who wanted to get his autograph in private. Yeah, that's what the whore wanted to do with Jiraiya. The pervert had the audacity to take Gama-chan, Naruto's precious toad wallet. Hey, that's a proper use of a semicolon.
Hey!
When Naruto finally hunted down his senseis...
he has multiple senseis, does he?
No, that's the possessive. What did he hunt down of his senseis? His precious wallet, it was empty. Empty all that hard work. 3 months worth of cash gone.
Okay, so I guess this is taking place when Naruto's supposed to have been... Like, this sounds like it's supposed to be the spot when Naruto runs into the Akatsuki the first time. And Sasuke shows up and gets his ass kicked by his older brother.
It's possible. Why do... No, it's not. Because, no, he knows the Rasengan already. So this is post-meeting Tsunade. Of course, remember?
Right.
Remember? This is during the time skip.
Right.
Isley says, why do all of these fics insist on using Japanese honorifics if the story is in English? We've talked about that before, and basically the thing is that we're fine with them using Japanese honorifics as long as they are consistent about it. As long as
I was
everyone
say, A, consistent about it, and
yeah.
B, of course, doing it correctly.
Yeah, as long as everyone's getting the honorifics, unless they say no, please just call me by my first name, or we're good friends, etc., etc. Yeah, I'm not too sure. Like, I'm fine with ninja moves being in the Japanese still, because them being translated to English does not make sense at all. Like, Madara's strongest fire move is called the power of hard work in English.
And that, you know what?
So him
doesn't
shouting,
sound very intimidating.
Yeah, him shouting some sort of "Hop, you know, sorry, but still, you get my point. Of him shouting out this word is a lot more.
It seems a lot more fitting.
Not even just more fitting. It's just more.
I was gonna say, it doesn't
shonen.
sound
You know, it's more shonen than
Well,
saying
not just
the
that,
power
it
of hard work. Fireball.
Here's the thing: it doesn't sound ridiculous because obviously it still sounds ridiculous to people speaking Japanese because it means something roughly along the lines of the power of hard work. Of course, that still sounds ridiculous. It doesn't sound ridiculous to us over here speaking English because we don't understand what he said, even when it's being translated.
Well, I mean, you also got to keep in mind...
Our brain doesn't directly understand what's being said.
Well, no, you got to keep in mind, though, is with you know, the... What is it called? You learned Chinese. What was it called?
What?
The style of writing.
English or... Oh, for Japanese? Like kanji or something?
No, I know it's called kanji. No, because I know it's not hieroglyphic, and you know, you have the romantic languages, which
you just say characters.
Characters,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you just call it Chinese characters.
Because I mean, it's a Sanskrit offshoot, so they use like, you know, flowing river to mean, you know, smooth or something. You know, it's not. It's more implied meaning than it is direct translation meaning.
I could give you
an
example of characters just really, really quick. Like the character for tree, if you put three of them together, it means forest.
Yeah, like it's implied
really
meaning. So like when he shouts out that word in Japanese, while it does directly translate to the power of hard work, it probably translates to a different meaning in Japanese, though.
Yeah. But,
like, overwhelming energy or probably something like that, you know?
Yeah, and to be fair, that's on the people who were doing the translation being lazy shits. You know, for not bothering.
But yeah, so anyway, that is our opinions on using Japanese terms and words in English stories. You just got to use it properly and correctly, and you go with the way that makes the most sense.
Like, do it consistently.
Yeah.
So if you have everyone saying, so if you have everyone going Oni-chan and crap like that, fine.
Yeah, make sure to include the kuns, the sans, you know.
And if you're like me and you're ignorant and you don't know what the hell you're doing,
don't fucking do it. Yeah.
Don't do it. Yeah. I'm sitting here.
Simple as that. Just don't bother.
I was gonna say I don't know any of it, so I'm not going to do it because me not doing it will probably annoy them less.
No. I don't know too many people that actually get mad over them not seeing it. I mean, there's obviously purists out there. They're like, oh, you have to use it. Fuck them. You know, I don't have too much of a problem with not seeing it. I have more of a problem of seeing it and using it improperly. But as for this story, Gama-chan is actually the name of the wallet. It's not being referred to as an honorific. Literally, the name of his wallet is Gama-chan.
Yes.
Okay.
Which is it's its own specific level
it's an inside joke for Naruto. It's that whole Japanese humor thing. Those crazy Japanese with their
here's the thing. Sometimes the Japanese have really funny jokes.
Sometimes they're ass chainsaws.
I was gonna say, and then sometimes they have people like Naui. Don't worry, she only looks like a 12-year-old girl. She's a 1,000-year-old dragon.
Yeah, she only dresses in the skimpiest of clothes.
Why does she do that? Why, of course, because she's 1,000 years old and she's in touch with her feminine side. Guys, you're not going to be able to justify.
You're not justifying this that easily.
It's like when Kojima was like, no, trust me, guys. I have a fantastic explanation for why Quiet dresses like a cheap whore.
She's gotta breathe through her skin. You don't understand. Her lungs are just there. Except it's okay when she's in the rain or taking a shower. She doesn't need to breathe then. She just kind of shakes like she's having a seizure. Except when she's dancing in it.
I was gonna say, here's the thing. I think people actually would have been less mad with Kojima if he'd just been like, I wanted big titties.
Honestly,
wanted big titties.
There is a reason we only nuked Japan twice.
Fuck.
Is it because they learned their lesson after the second time, or is it because we only had enough for 2 nukes?
Shh, don't ask those questions. Anyway, but yeah, no, sorry Japan, you're not gonna get away with that.
Yeah, anyway. Blah blah blah, stormed out of the brothel with an empty wallet, and stormed to the nearby forest. Oh, was he signing the autographs of all the people in the brothel, too?
Yes.
He stormed to the nearby forest, venting his anger, multiple Rasengans into trees. Due to how hard Naruto is training, he was currently only wearing his orange pants. He was sweating profusely.
Okay, hold on.
His bright cerulean blue eyes flared red with anger.
Okay, first of all, A, yes, it is a jumpsuit, but B, Naruto getting shirtless to train is something that has happened.
Oh no.
Also, they did say in Shippuden, when they remarked on his new clothes, they did say he got rid of the jumpsuit pretty early.
I would hope so.
And it is also canon that Naruto does roll down the top half of his jumpsuit, and that it is a thing he can do.
I thought he did that.
Yeah, no, that's what we're saying. Like we're just saying, as idiotic as him going around shirtless to train, that's something
he would actually roll down his jumpsuit. Yeah,
however, I want to point out what they just said.
His
cerulean eyes were red with rage.
What?
Is he Yang all of a sudden?
What?
Say,
what the fuck?
I'm pretty sure his eyes have never done that, ever, at all.
No, I think the author's trying to imply the Kyuubi up the shenanigans.
Okay, but there are better ways to do that. Like, you could say... you could say that he was really angry and the whiskers on his... Even though he hadn't noticed it, the whiskers on his cheeks had grown longer or something like that.
Yeah, this is more of a fan fiction thing, in that, like... Because there's no real signifiers of the Kyuubi's influence because of the because it was a shonen and it wasn't about character development.
Oh,
you don't need character development.
So because of that, the only times the Kyuubi's influence was shown was when Naruto got angry and started releasing the chakra, and a lot of people were rightfully being like, okay, well. Clearly, the Kyuubi's influence was on him before that. You don't just go from 0 to 300. So people were like, okay, well, what kind of stuff might show up before he starts just pumping out chakra and then gains tails and shit? Maybe his whiskers thicken, maybe he gets fangs, maybe he gets clawed hands.
Well, no.
His eyes turn red.
Oh, you said, we for sure saw all 3 of those things, at least in...
That's what I'm saying, though, but that was still, that was like a full stage of, all those things. So, the fanon kind of theory is whenever Naruto gets angry early on before he makes the pact with the Kyuubi, is his eyes will turn red, or his whiskers will thicken momentarily, or something like that. His eyes turn to slits momentarily, stuff like that. Like, that's the fandom's way of showing the Kyuubi's influence with his chakra.
Gotcha.
Anyway. Rag! Naruto yelled.
I'm not reading it.
Naruto yelled before slamming one more orb of spiraling death into the now dead tree.
You could have just fucking...
Spiral power!
Indeed.
You could have just fucking said...
Crowbar, that's not how we do things here.
What? Would you want a more monotone delivery of that sentence? Rog! Naruto yelled before slamming one more
No,
orb.
Holy shit.
See, I try to entertain.
Fucking okay there, Crowbar.
I've broken the crowbar.
1, no, I'm playing Darkest Dungeon and Shrieker just stole my shit. 2, it's a fucking level 5 Shrieker. I don't have anything at level 4.
I was gonna say, you ain't getting that stuff back, Crowbar.
I have to get it back.
You're not getting
Crowbar,
it back.
they're going to just die.
They stole my ancestors' shit.
Anyway, Naruto continued destroying tree after tree, releasing all his pent-up frustration.
Yeah, you released that pent-up frustration, Naruto.
Releasing all of his pent-up frustration.
You want to get closer? You want to get closer to the microphone?
He decided to join Jiraiya in signing some autographs.
Like, do I get closer to the microphone?
In all reality, every time he hit or destroyed a tree, didn't really help with his anger.
How many trees are there?
It was a fucking forest! Emphasis on the was!
Be like.
Why does this always happen? Why is he always stopping my training for his stupid research? Or for no comma. Or for some dumb, slutty woman databow. Missing a comma. Okay. Naruto howled in thought. He howled in thought!
Can you stop for 1 fucking second? Jesus Christ, you're so fucking loud. I only have you as low as I can fucking take you. No, I seriously have you on 3 goddamn %, Sneaky.
I'm shaking.
I cannot become quieter. This is my only volume setting.
Alright, we'll see if I can.
I only have 1 volume. That volume is loud.
But
I don't give a shit.
Okay, listen. No. Not even in the anime was Naruto ever like he would occasionally call. I'm pretty sure in the dub he calls a woman a whore a time or 2, but like that was the farthest it went. And even then, he wasn't so much using it as like a derogatory thing. It's just like
begone thought.
He's like, Jiraiya, they're only with you because they're whores. You realize that, right?
Yeah. Devil Spidey, wasn't Sneaky supposed to be alone? No, Spidey. I was supposed to be alone, and then, Atin showed up, and then I brought Crowbar in. Because I'm just that good at not being useless.
I mean, I joined the stream, like, a couple minutes before.
Yeah. He's been, like, AFK the whole time, like.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's coming back to, we're getting to the porn!
Okay.
Eventually.
Even hey, at least they haven't had Naruto fucking Jiraiya yet. Those ones are always
You know? Maybe that will happen here. Is he blowing his load over some trees to blow off some steam? You could say that. Plot time indeed. Naruto's ear twitched, light giggling, perverted sensei, worthless pervert, greeted by nothing, hearing things. He thought to himself,
something
no,
like
you're not, Gaki.
Bunny.
The lazy demonic voice. Using Gaki. You're not using all the other terms. Don't use Gaki.
I just need to survive, right?
Kyuubi, Easter Bunny, I just happen to be wearing a Kyuubi costume, sarcasm, you don't usually talk to me,
Can
especially...
you feel the sarcasm?
Especially after what you did to Sakura-chan.
Sakura-chan?
When? I don't remember anything.
Yeah.
I don't remember any pre-Shippuden stuff that happened to Sakura due to Kyuubi. I don't think he's got his timeline down straight. I don't know what you see in that pink-haired banshee howler monkey whore.
Whoa, what the fuck?
Wow.
Wow.
That was...
That
Wow.
escalated quickly.
That went from 0 to 60.
I was not.
I mean, she doesn't really care about you that much. She hits you for no goddamn... Why is that capitalized? Goddamn
Why
reason.
is it so angry?
She wouldn't hesitate to dispose of you, just so she can get her hands on Sasuke?
You mean
Why is there a question mark there?
Yay?
No, seriously, there's a question mark there, so it's... So she can get her hands on Sasuke? Kyuubi said to his very simple-minded host. Okay. Naruto growled as he gritted his teeth and anger. He growled and anger. Don't you just and anger sometimes?
No.
Don't you dare talk about Sakura-chan like that!
Can we just... You know what? I never thought I'd want... I mean, I was
Can we
about
just
to say
skip
don't
to
do
the
that
point?
again. I was about to say don't do that again, but that's exactly what we brought Crowbar onto this show for. So.
Oh yes, that's right. We need the mandatory uwu.
I'm gonna get Lyra.
Go for it.
Who?
I don't actually think she would join. I don't think she's on right now. We played Dota with her like once.
Oh, the trash panda.
The interesting one.
The trash hobo.
Yes, trash hobo. The superior crowbar. Face it, kid. She's not worth your time. Of course, the Kyuubi is the bastion of female wisdom when it comes to romance and who you should date. Yes, take your sexual advice from the giant fox. I'm sure he's got some accurate depictions for you.
I was gonna say, depending on which version, on what fanfictions you read, the fox is telling him this because the fox wants to fuck him.
Sometimes I add anger when I make soup. But do you make it out of a soup can?
What? What the fuck up, boy? I'm trying not to die right now in darkness.
Well, you should try harder. Streamy wait, what the fuck? The last tree you blasted with your Rasengan, that's a summoning scroll. What do you mean summoning scroll? Why would someone stash it in a tree? Because it's a dead drop, you moron! Xenon Cork bursts out of Atin's insides. Extermination is the only option for some fanfics. You know what, Xenon? This quote's gonna be taken completely out of context. But sometimes, after reading some of these fanfics, I question if maybe Hitler was right when it came to gassing certain people.
Why? Why'd you have to bring that up? Eh?
Holy shit.
That's, 4 years down the line, someone's gonna grab that soundbite.
What is that? What the fuck is that?
Remember, Sneaky, the fox is a woman most of the time. Yes, I am thoroughly aware of the fanfiction community's insistence of turning the fox into a femin and then having Naruto stick the dick inside.
Or alternately, turning Naruto into a woman and having a clam bake.
That is also a thing that has occurred.
They're big fans of that.
I'm half Jew, okay? That's good for you, Devil Spidey. I'm not gonna make any jokes. We're gonna move on with this fanfic. I'm not gonna be kicked off of Twitch before I even start.
I just had the luckiest.
My code name is Auschwitz. Get the fuck out, Spidey.
God. The one.
Okay. You're as dense as a brick. Powerful summoning.
Okay, I don't remember the Kyuubi ever being quite that abusive.
Yeah, no. A guy fapped on Twitch and a girl is stripped, so I think you're okay.
Yeah, but see, the problem is, I'm pretty sure the guy got banned, and I don't have good enough tits to not get banned.
No. To be fair, they banned both of them.
Did they? Because last I heard, they like had a really hard time actually getting rid of the girl.
I mean, I think they banned one of her accounts, but then she's like, "Look, I'm sorry, I won't do it again. Can I open up another one?" And they're like, "Yeah, if you promise not to fucking flash your tits again."
If you promise not to strip for people.
Yeah. Also, there was that one streamer who accidentally forgot to wear underwear and then bent over for the stream because she dropped something on the ground.
Oh, I thought
nobody's buying that.
I actually didn't realize that you were talking about a woman. I thought you were talking about fucking who was it? I think
what, did you think we were talking about a trap?
Well, Bulldog. Yeah, don't you know? Bulldog does strip teases all the time.
I mean, he does.
I think Arteezy one time was like, just fucking straight up in his boxers.
Oh, no, Arteezy streams all the time himself playing Dota in no clothes.
Okay.
I mean, he only shows his upper chest, though.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Nothing is like that one guy who was in the wheelchair. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the one guy who was faking being disabled. Yeah, I remember that guy.
Oh, yeah, he got ZF clan tags, didn't he?
I did it, by the way. I survived the fucking shrieker without dying.
Congratulations.
Hey, there you go.
Back to the story. Summoning scroll. It's got to be powerful because it was hidden inside a tree. I don't know what kind of logic is that.
Okay, no. I think I get. He's saying like, oh, this was it was in a dead drop, like.
Someone tried disposing of it.
Like someone, probably more likely someone was trying to sell it or hide it.
Yeah. I mean, I could think of far superior places to hide a very important scroll when you're a ninja than inside a fucking tree.
Sometimes there's a budget.
Well, I mean, if you know any fucking earth jutsu, you could just be like, yeah, I'm just gonna dig a fucking hole, because the chances of that being uncovered is pretty fucking low.
Sometimes you're on a budget.
But, like, and I understand it's part of their job to expect it and unexpected, but who'd be like, some angry-ass kid who knows the Rasengan is gonna be running through the forest just
well, see, that's the thing, though, is, like, tree annihilation is pretty common. Especially in the Land of Fire, where a majority of people know fire jutsu. So storing a paper scroll inside a tree in the land of people who shoot fireballs as their main go-to attack, maybe, just maybe, isn't the best idea. That's all I'm saying.
What is this thought again?
Anyway, so Jiraiya's drunk and fucked a bunch of people.
Wow, that's something that actually has never happened before.
Yeah, I know, right? Looking over an empty bed. He's out training, whatevs. Back with Naruto. Scrolls. Bergamo Uzumaki.
Yep.
What?
Bergamo. Oh, wow, his parents must have fucking hated him. Jesus Christ.
Fuck it.
Alright, class, introduce yourself, new student. Hi, I'm Bergamo. The Magnificent.
I was gonna say, that's like, I was gonna say, that kid needs to be taken away by child services. Just like, and I'm not kidding you, there was a kid, their parents named, I think it was a guy, it might have been a girl, I don't know, because they named their child Hashtag.
Oh, can't forget that one, kid, the kid of Kanye West who they named North.
Yes, I remember this.
So he's Northwest?
No, I was gonna say, here's the thing, they, unfortunately, Child Protective Services couldn't step in there, because they're like, look, it's kind of a mean joke, but it's not like it's a weird or completely unfitting name for a child.
Let's see. There's also been the parents who named their kid Adolf.
Oh,
there
yes.
is the
Child
parents.
services
Oh,
took it
yes.
away.
There was the parents who attempted to name their kid ISIS.
Yes.
After the entire ISIS.
Yes.
Yes.
This is like a recent thing.
Again, Crowbar. These are stories that make headlines because Child Protective Service comes in and is like, listen.
Bergamo is not a canon name. Do not worry, Isley.
I worry for some people sometimes.
No, but like that's the thing, Robert. Like this Child Protective Service steps in and is like, listen, you can't name
Bergamo is an Italian city. Yeah, I know it's Italian. We got 2 Italian families here on this stream, so yeah. But anyway, as I was saying previously, 200 Kyubi. I remember him. This scroll is over 200 years old.
All right then.
How? Because keep in mind, the Kyubi, this is canon, the Kyubi told Naruto, I don't know much of what went on when I was in my previous 2 containers, since they kept me blinded, deafened, and chained to a ball.
Whatever that means.
To a ball. You know.
Basically, so instead of being behind, like, bars, in the Mindscape, he was, like, impaled several times and chained to a floating moon.
Oh.
Yeah.
Shit, son.
And...
to a ball.
Yeah, so, like, he was like, oh yeah, I don't know much of what was going on. So... you know, and being that the first time he ever encountered an Uzumaki, also canon, was when he was sealed in Mito.
Yeah.
So, again, not quite sure when he met Bergamo. But apparently we're in the fucking AU zone now.
This is fine.
So what do you think, Fox? Should I sign it? As long as it doesn't kill you, I'm fine with it because of you die, I die. Missing commas there, changing how that sentence works.
I was gonna say, although that is blasé enough.
You know, I'm thinking next Tuesday we should queue up some Claymore fanfic.
I don't know shit about Claymore.
I know a decent amount. I know.
No,
I know a decent amount about Claymore. There we go. I can words.
What you know about doesn't matter, Crowbar, unless you plan on coming back to the show.
Which I'm fine with.
That's if I'm here on time. That's the main thing.
Tuesdays and Fridays. Yes, all the Claymore. Yeah, I know, Isley. I figured you would appreciate that. Silver King Isley is a character from Claymore. Mito was only about 50 to 100 years ago. I believe Mito died at 100 plus, and got moved on to Kushina when she was like 10. So that's like 120 years ago-ish. And then she lived for like another 20 years. So yeah, that's around 150 years ago. Yeah, in terms of canon. So, yeah.
Oh, I hate this.
However, much to Naruto's surprise, a bolt of purplish-pink lightnings struck his hand.
What?
Pink lightnings.
Much to Naruto's surprise, a bolt of purplish-pink, missing the hyphen, lightnings. Lightnings, as in plural. Lightnings.
Yes.
Struck his hand, quickly
so
grabbing...
does this mean that lightning finally got out of the time paradox?
Indeed.
And now there are multiple lightnings.
Quickly grabbing his hand, what? It pained Naruto, released a yelp of pain. The lightning released a yelp of pain? The circle consisting of strange symbols appeared on the back of his hand with the letter H inside the circle. H for hentai!
Oh.
Over the letters of H and V, Naruto looked the symbols with the confused expression.
He's trying.
Oh my god.
He's trying.
He's trying, but his soul hurts too much.
Naruto looked symbols. Sorry, that wasn't even the word the. That was my brain trying to lessen the hurt. Naruto looked symbols with the confused expression, even recognized that all.
He's trying.
You okay there?
I am going to be an alcoholic by the end of this year.
You're giving it a year?
The climax of the lightning gave him a yelp of pain.
Do you mean on the 1-year anniversary of the show is when you just start drinking?
Yeah, I'm just gonna start drinking on the 1-year anniversary of this show. If I haven't by then.
I'd be impressed.
Jesus Christ. The circle itself, with black along all its numerous symbols, the letter H was pink, while the V was purple. Ah man, why's out to be such lame colors? What?
What?
Naruto complained before going through the numerous hand seals for the summoning. Naruto quickly slapped his hand to the ground as the Kaijin... You can't even fucking spell kanji right!
Sometimes... Some people... I need to stop using this excuse.
Oh
right,
my god.
Sneaky.
He's vibrating. He's actually just vibrating right now.
I think he's. Let's keep going.
This fic needs an exterminatus. Yes, the fic does in fact need exterminatus immediately.
Vibrating.
Yeah, oh, jeez, I need to figure out how to do Blender so I can make a short animation of the Exterminatus Heresy stamp. And just play that every single fucking time we move on from a fic, just be like, fuck this!
Hold on.
Some people just want to watch the world filled with plots. Big, heavy, floppy plots. I don't think that word means what you think it means, Spidey.
Oh, fuck, I'm missing.
But, I doubt you're wrong either way. Kuchios no Jutsu, summoning technique, Naruto declared as an explosion of smoke appeared before him. There was a lot of smoke, too much Naruto. There was too much Naruto! Could hear faint sound of female voices coming from within the smoke. Naruto raised...
Hey, Sneaky.
Too much Naruto.
I found the solution for your problem here.
Oh?
I think that should do. Just dropped it in recording for you, buddy.
Yeah, no, I'm watching it.
Well, there's,
oh, see, the thing is if I could just get the nuke going off, like, no background, so I could just be overlaid over something, that would be fine. But,
well, this is significantly smaller, but is this what you were looking for?
No, I need just the nuke going off. Like, you know how a PNG has the transparent background so you can overlay it on things?
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about.
Like I said, I'm gonna have to figure it out myself because I highly doubt I'll be able to find a
find what you're looking
an
for.
Explosion, yeah, myself.
Don't think I can
or
find
pay
it.
someone to make it, which you know isn't happening.
Sadly, the only other thing I can offer you is the guardsman reloading the giant artillery shell.
Oh yeah, I like that one.
Which is a fantastic GIF.
Was Naruto at least clothed? No, I do not think. I think he is still shirtless.
I was gonna say he should.
I would assume so.
I was gonna say he hasn't had a reason to put his shirt on, and
and I think they also would have.
Okay, hold on. That's a legitimate statement. Like, as a guy, it's like, well, I don't have a reason to put a shirt on, but there are people over. That's not a reason.
That's still not. Yeah. I get you. Let's see. Blah blah blah. Right here we go. Naruto raised an eyebrow as his confusing. Although when the smoke finally cleared, Naruto's eyes widened in surprise. What? Naruto raised an eyebrow as his confusing. Although
they're trying. They're really trying.
At the next break, we're dropping this story and moving on. This is hurting too much.
They're trying.
No,
okay.
No, you're not allowed to stop. You finished it. You started this pile of nonsense.
And you don't understand. We're only a third in.
Then we can skim it. But we came here for plot, gosh darn it.
No, we didn't. Let's see, blah, 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 female voices, as blush dusted his cheeks, sitting front of them where seven, extremely attractive, quote, women's.
Quote, women's?
Quote, women's.
Sneaky should not be allowed to choose fanfictions alone, just saying.
I mean, you're correct about that. However, there's not much we can do about it.
Oh boy. They were all looking around in confusion. Maybe we should start a drinking game. Every single time there's a grammar error, you need to take a shot.
That's
sneaky. Our livers would be on a bad night. Our livers could be destroyed in the first 30 seconds of the show.
That's not healthy.
Maybe if it was like
no drinks.
Maybe if it was like take a not an actual shot, but like mini
shoot yourself every grammar error.
Why not like
take a mini shot glass and fill it up halfway.
Every single time there's a grammar error, you play Russian roulette.
Oh, that might be worth it. That might be fun.
You know?
Yo.
There's potential there.
You know what you need to get? A shot roulette wheel.
Oh god.
I don't know if you watch.
We don't have enough alcohol for that.
No, we don't have enough. We're not buying that much alcohol either.
Now, if you, the fans, want to start giving us monthly payments to be spent on that...
Alcohol.
Oh, yes, please, go to my Patreon page down below and make my alcohol fund grow.
Say, better yet, subscribe to the channel and let us know that you're subscribing for Fanfiction Friday so the rest of us can get our cut.
Welcome to Off Topic. Fanfiction version.
Hey, maybe we could get Rooster Teeth to sponsor us. They'll provide free booze, right?
Probably. No, honestly, I think the cool part would be if we got big enough, we got enough people following us, going around to the various groups on the internet, like Rooster Teeth and shit, and doing collabs where we read fanfiction about them.
Oh, no, they've already done that.
And grading the grammar on it, or just laughing about it?
Just laughing. I think one of my favorite is this is a fantastic story from Rooster Teeth podcast. So apparently, one day Gus and Jeff were in a hotel at a convention.
And they read Gus times Jeff fanfiction?
No, he read Jeff kept reading Griff times Simmons /fiction.
Oh no.
Oh good.
Oh goody.
And Gus is like, "Are you trying to tell me something here, buddy?"
Nice. I think they did that with the Ruby cast too. Yeah, probably.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
But I mean, like, Rooster Teeth's like the only people that I know that would even do that. Like, I would like to get, you know, fucking Chris Raygun on here, read some Chris Raygun fanfiction.
Get Mark on here.
Get some PewDiePie, get Markiplier on here, read some Markiplier and PewDiePie fanfiction.
We're nowhere. I don't think we'll ever be famous enough to get PewDiePie on our show, bro.
I don't know. If he continues his shitposting streak, he might just do it for the lulz.
Isn't he in the shit right now or some fuck?
No, I mean, he's been dropped from a lot of things, but he's still making a lot of money. So
I stopped watching him like 3 years ago.
Oh yeah, no, he made a video at the beginning of this year, which is why I'm actually watching him. Because I mean, I'm not subscribed to him, but I'll tune into his videos sometimes if they look interesting.
I don't know.
He made a you know, announcement saying like, I'm gonna stop trying to be forced enjoyment, and I'm just gonna shitpost from now on. And then he got dropped from Disney a couple months later because he made a lot of Hitler shitposting.
To be fair, I can understand why Disney dropped him.
I can't. It's fucking Disney.
If you're a family-friendly brand...
Donald Duck.
What about Donald?
You don't know about... Dude, fucking, Walt Disney was a Nazi. He was a Nazi supporter.
Yeah, that's probably why they don't take jokes about it, dude.
They had fucking Donald Duck be Adolf Hitler. They killed Bambi!
Okay, Bambi deserved to die.
Literally, one of their most popular series, The Lion King, they brutally murdered the father in front of the son!
It's character development.
Family friendly, my ass!
It's character development.
Bambi is in my fireplace right now. Why are you burning a deer for fire?
You mean on your fireplace? Not in?
I'm not quite sure why you would throw a corpse into your fire. Yeah, it's a good waste of shit.
I mean, if you've got it on like a spit roast, I guess that's okay. But
do you have a big enough fireplace, friend?
Bambi was pretty small.
I mean, it was a fawn.
Bambi is a rug. I don't think the skin's...
Bambi would make a terrible rug.
Yeah, no, that's pretty shitty rug, yeah. Anyway, back to the porn. Sitting in front of them were seven they were all looking around in confusion before their eyes landed on normally Naruto.
Normally Naruto.
What?
Normally
Naruto never showed anyone respect.
We needed fucking...
We're missing words here! Scroll back the time and see my previous rays about missing more content than fucking Chicago's public education system. I reiterate. We're missing chunks of words here.
I just hate the fact that you're right.
What about Chicago's CPS being shitty?
Oh god, no, I mean, yes, but no, not specifically about that. We've always known it was trash.
Okay, anyway, but this once he would throw his morals away as he gave a slight bow. What the fuck does morals have to do with anything with giving someone respect?
What?
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't respect you. It's against my morals.
I am so confused.
Like, what the fuck does morals have anything to do with that?
Little did you know, to be a decent person.
Yeah, the next few paragraphs are just descriptions.
Oh my god.
Huge chest, naked flesh, fur scarf, hairpiece, Fan Mei, demon, dragon, dusty skin, blah blah blah, green kimono, bronze skin woman.
I was promised
half snake.
To receive any.
Half kraken.
What? Oh
half
my!
Kraken?
Death.
Do you mean just tentacles, or?
Wouldn't you like to know, Crowbar?
Next thing you know, Gal Gadot comes out of the rainbow riding an MLP pony and yells, "Aloha Gryffindor blows up."
Sneaky, I'm gonna start timing people out of your chat for being idiotic. Can I do that?
I mean, you are a moderator. There's no rules in this chat, though.
We'll add one rule to the chat. We will ban you and time you out for whatever we feel like. Deal with it.
Nah. I'm all about that free speech.
I know.
Though bringing Gal Gadot into this, that's unacceptable.
I was gonna say, don't bring that treasure of a human being into this filth.
The I in my name is there because of my idiocy.
I for idiocy. There we go.
I don't get it.
I hate this dungeon. Fuck you. It's so goddamn lucky.
Alright, let's keep going.
Internet is a free country. Oh,
blah,
boy.
blah, 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 blah. We're all hitting on you. Where are we?
We're all hitting on you. Okay, then.
Elemental Nations, summoned. How did you get beat up? I've been training. That's not right. The sensei shouldn't steal their students' money. I'll help you with shinobi training. What the fuck? Desire to play with her new summoner. He's going to be so fun to break and turn into a love toy. The fox inside the woman had her tail swaying.
I think
her fellow queens. Delightful idea. Coils around him and squeeze his body. Tentacles squeezing him for his rich semen.
G-cups.
That.
Those aren't a thing.
Yeah.
Crowbar, correct me if I'm wrong, but those aren't even a thing, right?
Alright, so blah blah blah. He's gonna fuck them all. Okay, we're done here.
G-cups.
Yeah, G-cups. Yeah, yeah.
Alright,
so I am sending out the link to the next one. We are going to be taking a temporary break while I go refill the water, go to the bathroom, and that various other things.
What do you mean they exist?
No. Okay, never mind. That's weird as shit. I don't look into this shit at all.
And yet, apparently you're looking into it right now.
The world record is a triple J cup. Okay. I do think I know what he's referring to, and that was artificial. But that was a thing. If we're thinking about the same thing, is someone did in fact get surgery to get boobs that big.
I'm not surprised.
I mean, I'm not either.
Alright,
so let's see. I'll cue this up, and I should probably make a title card for a break at some point, but this will have to do for now. So we will, everyone take a break, grab some water, empty your bloodars, and we shall return momentarily.
I'll be back.
Oh. Oh, I don't want to read this. Oh boy. Fuck it. Whatever. Trying.
Alright, I'm back. Is nobody else here?
I'm still here, and I just fucking lost my plague doctor to an obstacle. Because, you know, fuck
Alright,
it.
are we all ready?
Whatever. I don't need to fight that boss.
Alright. Let me just mark down the time for the YouTube archive when we began again. 1:43.
Oh yeah, and everyone's plagued.
Break ends at 1:20.
Because you're a heretic.
Indeed.
What? Heresy? I heard heresy.
Heresy indeed. Alright.
Heresy. For don't you see, Harry, you're actually a Pharisee.
I wanted to thank you guys for getting me hooked on another book, Worm. It's actually pretty good. From what I've heard, most of the fan fiction sucks. Yes, Worm is a absolutely fantastic fan web serial.
Worm is fantastic.
Yeah.
Most of the fan fiction is terrible. However, there is some
There is some extremely high quality Worm fanfic out there.
I would say there's definitely some stuff worth going through because it is fantastic.
However, the main problem for Worm is a majority of Worm fanfics are not on Archive of Our Own or fanfiction.net, two of probably the best sites to go to for fanfiction reminders, you know, being emailed and shit when something updates. Unfortunately, Space Battles and Sufficient Velocity are the two places you want to go for Worm fanfics. And unfortunately, as I've said previously, there isn't a section for that. It's just the creative writing section of the forum, so it's like literally everything else is also there. So finding it is more of a, being really good at keyword searches and checking like literally every single day if something updates to find new stuff. I use our Worm fanfic, the Reddit subreddit, because they got some decent recommendation stuff going on there. Or you could always, you know, ask the subreddit, like, hey, have you heard about blank thing? And most people will tell you if they have or haven't seen it, usually. But, you know, the key part is a lot of Worm authors, because there's a lot of shit going on in Worm. A lot of butterfly effects from even the smallest change, because literally everything in Worm was planned by someone behind the scenes.
Oh, literally everything is according to somebody's Keikaku?
Literally, their superpower is the ability to plan things.
Well, that's a fucking lame-ass superpower.
That
like, you can't lose.
Sounds like...
I mean, you can, because they can only plan on one thing. So it's like, I want to plan on killing this one person. The plan that they get from the power will only give them the steps they need to take to kill this person. It won't tell them if someone's gonna blind rush into it and fucking shoot them in the head.
Gotcha. Oh, speaking of which, that reminds me. Afterwards, you told me about a Magic the Gathering worm crossover. Was that a dead story?
There is one dead version of Magic the Gathering, and there is one live version of it. The live version is more of the Planeswalker angle, while the card version is the one that is dead.
I'll try both of them.
Alright, I'll link you the Planeswalker one.
Awesome.
Let's see what we got here. Dark Tower, how's the movie, how many books, Legend of Sword.
Like you say, we know nothing about Dark Tower.
Nothing about it.
It's with the new movie.
I'm only up to 2.9. Hold off until I get further in.
And I was like, this looks like it's gonna be trash.
Tattletale. Tattletale's, no, not the character I was referring to. The character I was referring to comes up later in the story. Significantly later in the story. Yeah. And they are in a mixed opinion from the fandom about them.
Anyway.
But their superpower is literally called Path to Victory, though. And it includes all the inane steps, like step right 3 times, you know, at a 45-degree angle and shit like that. Like, it's able to predict everything, as long as it's part of the objective.
As long as it's according to Keikaku.
So, why don't they just say, I want to take over the world?
Because I already did.
They kind of already did.
Yeah.
They kind of already are in charge of the world.
Well, okay then.
Yeah.
Moving along!
You have to read more Worm. It's really good. Do it.
Gotcha.
Anyway, so back to the original chapter story that we were originally going to talk about. The mix of Sharingan and One for All. No, not really, actually. Their power doesn't grant them skills. Like, they are a normal person.
Who just happens to be able to make ridiculously elaborate plans.
They'll be like, okay, I want to blackmail this person. And they won't get any knowledge on the person. All their power tells them is, you know, step right twice, place this brand of briefcase in this position at this point in time, filled with, you know, a picture of this kind of tree or something. Like, it doesn't tell them anything. It doesn't explain anything. It's just like, this is how you blackmail the person. It won't mean anything to you, but the person's gonna pick it up or something, and they'll see the tree and they'll be like, "Oh my god!"
They know.
Yeah. So, and they don't remember anything about it either. So once they move on to a new path, they don't remember anything from their previous path in terms of like skills they might have picked up or something. So if like part of the skill, like it's like, oh, I want to impersonate a head chef and poison someone. The path will give them the exact methods to cook the best dish ever that's secretly laced with poison. But after that path is completed, they won't know how to cook the dish.
Right. Anyway, back to what we're here for.
Yes.
Filthy, filthy trash.
We might cover some Worm fanfic at some point. Because, oh boy, there is so much edgelord trash in there.
Oh god, I would say that. I mean, that is one of the benefits.
Yeah. Well, for us, I suppose. Not for someone who wants to read fanfiction.
Yes.
Anyway, so the Azeroth Hive. StarCraft, Warcraft crossover. I linked you guys this stuff, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
okay.
glanced at it and I was depressed immediately.
Knowing the defeat is immediate. Knowing that defeat is immediate, Sylvanas accepts the help of the being that calls itself the Overmind, and becomes the Zerg Queen of Azeroth. With a hive...
Don't! Don't!
With a hive, the Overmind sent
Right,
to
Lee.
Azeroth centuries ago, only to lose contact. She fights back against Arthas and his army. But how will her people
What is
react
this?
to her changes? Or
This is before
the other
she
races?
hasn't died yet. This is when Arthas
Okay.
is burning a swath
Yeah.
Okay.
to the Elven cities.
What
Okay.
will happen to Azeroth?
Well, I can tell you how people react. They'll all react badly. The elves, especially, will react badly.
Which one? I don't know.
Everybody, literally everybody, will see the Zerg as just a slightly different, slightly less awful version of the undead.
Actually, no, they would more likely see it as the Burning Legion.
Mm.
Yeah, good point. Regardless, they're not going to accept it, and
They're
they
not
will
gonna
just
like
kill
it
them.
at
No,
all.
no one's gonna like it.
At least none of them should like it. And even if you could have the two more pragmatic people, like say the three most.
Oh
pragmatic
yes,
people
the
on that
Familiar
entire
of
continent,
Zero Warcraft crossover. Yes, by Shade Knight.
what do
Yeah.
you say?
That
Even-
was great. Oh, that was so good.
Even if you had like the three most pragmatic people on Azeroth, that being Jaina, Thrall, and Malfurion, be like they're not that bad, they'd never be able to convince all their people that they're not that bad. For crying out loud, Jaina and Thrall are practically fuck buddies. And how long
Okay,
have they
so
been trying to
No, no,
convince them?
I am
know
going
this.
to bring up
I
Shade
know.
Knight. Oh, whoa! Oh shit! I have apparently I never favorited and followed him, Shade Knight himself, so I didn't notice he wrote a Ruby story. Oh,
Oh boy.
oh, but it was updated in 2015. Oh, it's dead. That's unfortunate. Shade Knight writes absolutely fantastic. He was back in the day a slow updater, but he wrote fantastic stories that he always completed. But let's see, where is it? Acolyte of Zero. Absolutely recommend this story to anyone. If you even remotely know Familiar of Zero and Warcraft, because it is straight up Luis summons an acolyte from Warcraft 3,
Which was fantastic.
which comes with the GUI. And it's quite literally Warcraft 3 rules in Familiar of Zeroverse. And it is fabulous. It is Oh, it's
yeah,
beautiful.
you were saying that whole thing was great.
The whole thing was just beautiful.
Although the ending was a little...
Never played a WoW game and probably never will. Well, Warcraft 3 was before WoW.
Yeah.
Quite a few years before WoW, actually.
Well,
Like
World of
3.
Warcraft would not be nearly as awesome, fun, or interesting if WoW didn't exist first.
No, you mean Warcraft existed.
Or, yeah, Warcraft.
Yeah, honestly, I would have never picked up WoW if it wasn't for me playing Warcraft first.
Because at the beginning, none of us cared about WoW. We didn't care about our numbers getting bigger or our fancy gear. No. We wanted to know more about what happened in the world of Warcraft.
Anyway, so I'll read a snippet from the first chapter of this, so we get an idea of what a good story sounds like, so we can go into the Azeroth Hive and see what a bad story of like this sounds like.
Jesus.
The Lich King ordered, and he strived to obey. His flesh was pale, sickly gray. The loose purple and black robes covered his entire frame, save... Shade Knight is actually Italian, by the way. So this is one of his early stories, so his English was not the best at the start. But he tried, and he improved immensely. Save for a bit of his face, even that half covered by a thick blue scarf. A long, wavy dagger was tied to the sash at his belt. A pouch containing a few ointments and poisons tinkled against it with every step he took. He had no need for more. His mortal life gifted to the cult of the damned, his eternal soul bound by the shackles of ice and magic the Lich King possessed. Once he had been a man, a father of a beautiful girl, a husband of a wonderful wife, a devoted son of a kind mother and a proud father. Then the sickness spread through the fields of wheat, and one by one they left him alone. The cult found him next and offered him a chance for revenge. He knew, in his fever-maddened brain, that it made no sense for Lordran to be responsible. Why not blame the cult? Why not blame those who brought the plague? Because they were but the hands guided by the despair wrought upon their very bodies. Because they were victims just like him. He was one of the lucky, one of the blessed. He had been part of the Lich King's own retinue, of his own force. He had called forth powerful necropolis from thin nothingness, erected mines from the ground to grasp at the precious minerals needed. He had been there to dig out the corpses from the cemetery and turn them to the cause of the undead. So, good writing, yeah?
Yeah. Certainly, it has its issues, but it's
Get
good.
ready for this crap.
Oh hell yes, my food is here.
Sylvanas knew the situation was dire. No, dire didn't quite okay, hold on. Edgelord. There we go. Oh, okay, fucking. There we go. Remove. No, Dyer didn't quite explain the situation the Rangers of Quel'Thalas found themselves in. The inner gates had fallen. They were once again on the retreat. Half of them were wounded, and worst of all, the undead army was stronger than when it breached the border of their precious homeland. It wouldn't take long for the undead army to reach Silvermoon. The inner gates were Silvermoon?
What's up?
The person writing apparently doesn't know their geography. They're talking about the undead breaching the inner gates of the Quel'Thalas, but the inner gates was Silvermoon.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sylvanas had already sent one of the more fitter Rangers to the capital city of the High Elves in order to warn their leaders and prepare their defenses. Sadly, Sylvanas couldn't afford to send an escort with her ranger. Plus, earlier that day, their group had been attacked by a small number of gargoyles, flyer units, which up to this point the enemy army had held back for some reason. Now they not only had to watch the air, but also chances were high that another scouting party found their messenger and killed him off. Fun little fact, the Rangers of Quel'Thalas had no male members. I'm pretty sure they also called the city past the inner gates Silvermoon. Yes. The inner gates of Quel'Thalas led directly into Silvermoon, so if the inner gates were breached, they were basically in Silvermoon. The area of Silvermoon.
Why is Devil Spidey screaming no in the chat?
Devil Spidey's screaming no because I'm not quite sure.
Oh, okay.
Right now, it was dark. The Rangers expected the enemy army to arrive the next day. Why?
What?
Apparently, even breaching the inner gate, it takes an undead army an entire day to walk 10 feet. Their own scouts had already spotted a vanguard of force. No one doubted that this would be their last stand. If anything, Sylvanas spoke out loud, we might be able to buy Silvermoon enough time to rally its forces and prepare the defenses. Even if they're not able to counter these abominations, the Sunwell will protect our people and give them a chance to survive. The other elves looked up from the fire towards their general. But there's so many. Can our people hold out against so many? One of the younger rangers asked. He had lost his left arm during the last fight. Do not capitalize one, it's not a new sentence. But refused to leave, claiming he could still hold a sword. At this point in time, Sylvanas had no choice but to accept what she got. Again, to my knowledge, having read all of the StarCraft and Warcraft books, there were no male rangers. That was a exclusively female outfit. Yeah, the first paragraph's already way off. The edgelord might be a bit much, though. You are correct. They were trying to be gritty and darky, though.
Our mages will be able to create a shield around the city. It takes some time, but if we can provide this time, our highest mages will be able to create an impenetrable shield, which can last as long as the Sunwell exists. Food and water won't be a problem for a long time, and even if our people would be able to use portals to get to Dalaran, or at least somewhere close, and ask for reinforcements.
No. But anyway. Sylvanas held her tongue in check as to not comment on the humans. Right now, she didn't have the highest opinion of their so-called allies. This is another little thing. When you are referring to something, typically it's single quote. That's just something that I was taught. They're so-called allies. I was personally taught to put that in single quote, but I'm not sure if the jury's out on whether it should be a double or single quote, though. Since we don't have our resident
everything
grammar
is fine.
expert.
Carry on.
Indeed. It's fine. Feminists. I'm not sure from Warcraft 3, all rangers were female. Yeah. I also read the books, and they were all female in the books as well. So unless there was like some hidden male rangers that I didn't know about.
Hey, they prefer the term trap.
Well done.
Thank you.
War!
The opportunity presented itself.
That's what
Thanks to a certain bastard prince who dares to invade their home right at this very moment. Like, okay, first of all, correct me if I'm wrong, but at this point in time, it's been a long time since I played Warcraft 3, but everyone knew the humans were not, like, Arthas did not represent the humans.
Okay,
he represented the Scourge.
Well, I am unsure about using quotation marks to denote, allies, air quotes. I do know that when you are using dialogue lines and you are indicating an air quote of something, it is in fact single quotes to denote not the dialogue ending, but rather you quoting something inside the dialogue.
Now, this is an internal thought, so...
Was Arthas a Death Knight by the point he was marching on Quel'Thalas?
Absolutely. Remember, he had, because remember, the whole reason he marched on Quel'Thalas was because he needed the power of the sun. He needed to get his dad
to resurrect Kel'Thuzad. I know.
To resurrect Kel'Thuzad. He was totally a Death Knight at that point. There's no other reason he would be resurrecting Kel'Thuzad.
I don't know. I don't think he was a Death Knight by that point.
No, he was. He had absolutely made the class change to a Death Knight.
Well, I mean, yes, he had made the class change. What I'm saying, though, is he wasn't a resurrected person yet at that point. He wasn't undead yet.
I think he was.
No, because remember, Sylvanas poisoned him. And he rushed to the frozen throne to, fix that little issue.
No, he rushed to the frozen throne because, oh my god, what was his name? Angry Demon Man, Illidan.
Well, yeah, I mean, yes, Illidan, yeah, he was called to the frozen throne as well. But no, he was poisoned by Sylvanas and he lost control of the undead.
No, I don't think she poisoned him. I think she just attacked him.
No, it was poison. Because it was poison because
Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. I gotta go look this up.
Yeah, no.
Alright.
Yeah, go for it. I mean,
I gotta hop out.
Alright, later.
Yep.
So it's Pathfinder shit.
Before you leave, can we get the uwu?
What?
No.
Aw.
No.
I can't do it. I can't do it right now. I'm not.
You're not in that mindset?
She's
I'm
not feeling
inclined
kawaii.
to it.
She's
I'm
not
not
feeling
feeling
kawaii enough. Yeah, he was
I need-
using
I need
Death
to-
Knight spells. Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Alright.
Arthas. Okay, history.
Later, Crowbar.
Pre-corruption, Knight of the Silver Hand. Kel'Thuzad, her having infected the stored grain. Culling of Stratholme. North Ren, Runeblade. Arthas traveled back to Lordaeron for his just reward. Arthas knelt before the throne, approached his father, ran him through, killing him and leaving Lordaeron to rot without a king. Bloody broken crown remains lost. Fled the scene, traveled to a farmstead, raised his faithful steed Invincible into undeath. Vandemar at the bidding of his new master. There's the vile cult of the damned. Okay. He then faced Uther. Okay. Fall of Kael'thas. Arthas met heavy resistance from the elves, rallied by Ranger General Sylvanas. Driving their forces before his undead army, he steadily pushed the people back, swath the destruction. I mean, here's the thing. I don't know if he was dead, but he was certainly. It was quite clear that he represented the Scourge, because remember, at this point he's run his father through and betrayed the Knights of the Silver Hand.
I know that. What I'm saying though is that when he was ambushed by the resurrected Sylvanas,
Okay, hold on,
she
hold on,
shot him.
Hold on, I'm looking during the climax. So Arthur had a... Okay. Archmon left a trio of dreadlords behind in the ruinous palace gardens of Lordaeron to ensure the nation remained under control and to watch over the cunning servitors. When the Demon Lord was defeated, however, they were not aware of it. This changed several months later when Arthas returned to reclaim his throne. He threatened the dreadlords, fled, and then called Sylvanas and Kel'Thuzad to his side. They crushed the remaining refugees, who were led by the paladins. During the climax of the battle, Arthur had a painful seizure and felt the Lich King calling out to him. Despite his diminished powers, Arthas fought on until all the remaining humans were killed. Little did Arthas know that the Lich King's power had dwindled to the point that Sylvanas was no longer in control. In secret, she attended a meeting with the Dreadlords, who told her that the power was waning, and so the time had come to claim her vengeance. He was ambushed in the capital city and
Alright, later, Devil Spidey.
See Devil Spidey, and was forced to collect what loyals he could through the Dreadlords' forces. As he arrived at the city limits, he was saved by a cart of banshees who told him Sylvanas. However, as they neared an empty spot, Arthas perceived another vision who told him and betrayed. Sylvanas appeared and then shot him with a paralyzing arrow. Kel'Thuzad stepped in and chased her off. But the Lich King's mental cries pierced Arthas, blah blah blah, returned to Northrend, demonic forces. Yeah, okay, so no, she didn't kill him. She paralyzed him.
No, I never said she killed him.
I know, but she didn't poison him.
No, technically she did poison him.
Okay. Technically, yes,
I was just associating him being poisoned with the loss of control, whereas the other way around, the loss of control brought about the poison.
Led to the poison.
Alright, but still.
Yeah.
He was not a Death Knight at that point. At no point in time was he ever resurrected.
He was still a Death Knight, though.
Oh, yes, he still used Death Knight spells and shit, but he was not a Death Knight in terms of actual... you know, being resurrected from the dead.
Yeah, I mean, when did that happen?
When he fused with the Frozen Throne is when he died
right.
And got resurrected into the Lich King.
Right.
Anyway.
Arthas pressed the advantage, sledging up to the Demon Hunter's chest. Illidan collapsed. Arthas entered the hollow glacier, blah blah blah. Heard them crying out, ignore them, continuing his ascent, complete the circle, blah blah blah.
Make us whole!
Yes. Release me from this prison. Now we are one in that moment, fusing to a single being, just as the Lich King always planned. Arthas as a single being ceased to be now one half the most powerful entities, the new Lich King. Yeah, still not dead. Still not dead. Ah, yes. Okay. In doing so, he lured the powerful heroes to Northrend and placed many challenges before them, seeking to weed out the weak and make the strong question their own morality. Raised the world's greatest fires as his new champion and used them to spirit attacks on their homelands. Plan nearly succeeded, adventures, Tyrion, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, so he was never actually resurrected into a Death Knight. Interesting.
No, he was never a Death Knight, although it could be argued that having lost his soul and given it to Frostmourne, he was dead.
Yeah, I guess you could. Yeah, that's iffy. Anyway, let's move on with this trash.
Yeah.
Further away from Silvermoon, Arthas watched from a high up position, as his army of undead cut down trees as it marched through the old woods. A satisfying smirk appeared on his face.
A satisfying smirk, really.
It satisfied people who looked upon it. As he watched his meat wagons passing by, overloaded with dead elf bodies, he could raise them now, but it would slow his army down considering just how many bodies they were transporting. Not to mention, his necromancers were constantly working on new kinds of ways to bring back the dead, maybe even give them additional powers, plus they needed material in order to repair the damaged abominations.
Okay, first of all, at least one of those reasons is stupid. Raising dead bodies is only going to speed your army up.
Yeah, technically speaking, raising dead bodies would speed the army up.
Because now, instead of them being dead weight that you have to move, it's dead weight moving itself. Now, necromancers working on new ways to bring back the dead, perfectly legitimate reason. Using them to repair the A-bombs, perfectly legitimate reason.
Yep, indeed.
But
you couldn't use abominations at that point in time. Oh, okay. He's not wrong. Yeah, you couldn't.
I mean, no, you couldn't, but, like, it can be argued that was just a gameplay limitation.
That's iffy. Sort of. You could sort of argue it.
Back, so I'll be right back. I gotta grab my food.
All right, yeah. So I'll just talk into the ether. You can sort of argue that the abominations not being available were a gameplay mechanic, but you could also argue the opposite direction, as Blizzard did usually set up the campaigns for each of the factions in a way that you had to do a mission that would quote unquote end in the recruitment at some point in time of a new unit or units. So by going by that, you could say that the abominations were in fact not a unit that existed before that point. Yeah, since they mentioned the gargoyles. Yeah. Indeed. It's like 50-50. You could argue a gameplay mechanic. You could argue from a discovery mechanic of lore. Sylvanas mentioned the fact that gargoyles only just... Yeah, I know. I know what you're referring to, Isley. I was just, expanding upon that. Anyway, that's it. Blah, 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 dead elf bodies, additional powers. From behind, one of his necromancers approached the fallen prince, bowing as the man arrived at his lord's side. Yep. My lord, our gargoyles have spotted a ranger from Sylvana's troops, misspelled Sylvanas, heading towards Silvermoon, presumably a messenger. They killed him, of course, but the ranger general might send more. She is persistent, commented the Dark Prince. If you're going to capitalize Prince, you need to capitalize Dark.
Also, so I'm back. I'm going to finish this story with you, and then I'm probably going to tap out for the night because I have to keep watching TI because I'm really interested in the EG versus LGD game.
Oh yeah, that's coming up, isn't it?
No, it's on now.
Oh, is it? Okay. Well, then I'll just have to move that to the third screen so I can look over
anyway,
that.
So Further away in Silvery Moon, what did I miss?
Is that on 1? Oh yeah, it is on 1. Excellent.
It's on 1.
Yeah, I'm fine. Good. Blah, 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 blah. She is persistent, and annoying. Let our gargoyles fly in a perimeter, but don't let them get too close to Silver Moon. Keeping the elves in the unknown is key to my strategy.
Okay,
As you wish,
hold on.
my lord.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Well, no. I guess they did have the mission where your entire job was to stop the runners, so never mind. No, the elves don't know yet.
You will regret ever getting in my way, Sylvanas. Your race's ultimate defeat. Sylvanas found herself standing on a hill. Oh, good. Oh, good. We're in some sort of flashback dream thing. Fighting spirit. Her rangers fighting against undead. Blah, blah, blah. Feel the darkness embracing her. She woke up in her own rotted body. Where am I? This is the fate of your people if you do not stop this Terran. Who are you, demon? The eye looked amused. Your physical body has not been moved. You are dreaming. I simply connected my mind to yours. Staking me for true nature. I am Zerg.
Hold on a minute. So apparently Sylvanas is just an incredibly powerful psionic.
Yes, of course. Don't you know?
Yeah, I mean...
That AM just got fucked by familiars.
Oh god, yes.
I was once a Zerg.
Once?
I was once called the Overmind. A magical screen appeared behind the eye. Big flash and tentacles. I was once the leader. Zerg are a race capable of adapting. There was an egg. Couldn't help. Jumped back. Monster grew out of it. World after world we invaded and claimed. We met the Proto. Oh, good. So we're just doing an exposition dump of StarCraft.
Okay, no, hold up. To be fair, the Overmind was pretty exposition-y.
That is true. The Overmind was pretty exposition-y.
Like that is not necessarily a fault of the writer.
We met the Protoss. Sylvanas could feel awe. I don't know how much awe she would feel at Protoss. I was one of the leaders who eventually killed me. Killed you, indeed. It was the power of the Terran weapon who brought me back to the world of living, if only temporarily. Bring you back for good. I don't wish to return. The Dark One would find me once again. He would enslave me once again. Dark One belonged to a race who created me. Blah, blah, blah. No remaining power of the Zerg. I admit this much. I'm interested in your story. I don't understand why this helps me. That is, however, for 1, colon. I don't see how this helps me. For 2, colon. That's, no. That's not, no. No. Don't do that. Just don't do that. I've sought you out. As of now, you can't win. We won't give up without a fight. I don't care about what your opinion is. You have a chance if you bow down to me. Centuries ago, I sent a hive here. I found them. Don't tell me. A hive inside of these caves you're currently in. To perish once again. Merge with the Zerg and control them. You either die tomorrow and become an undead, or accept my help and become a Zarg. The choice is yours, Sylvanas. Also, they committed a grave sin, Atin, a bit earlier. He spelt Sylvanas' name without the S because he had an apostrophe to denote possession. So apparently, this person, yes, even in the non-pornographic stories, there is an abused colon. You know what? We should actually make a shirt of that. Don't abuse the colon, and then just actually have the grammatical colon.
Of course.
I would wear that shirt in public.
We have to have enough fans willing to buy them for it to be worth us selling them.
Oh, of course, yes, of course. Isley, I need you to buy 50 of these shirts.
You need to sell a lot more than 50, unfortunately.
You need to become our shirt merchant, Isley. Sylvanas woke up with a migraine bigger than Arthas's cruelty.
That doesn't make any sense. Literally, if you'd said bigger than his ego while still being bad,
or bigger than his
fine.
army, or, you know, whatever. Opening her eyes, dream, we need to prepare. No one came. Various must have been killed. There's no time to mourn. One of us needs to get there, wake up the others. Arthas might send a wake-up call, so to speak. Again, single quotations, and when you're inside quotations. At once, Arthas' forces didn't take long. Watch the skies, take cover. Your messenger is dead, get lost, look at the size of the attack. It's pointless, you'll die. Why should I trust you? A chance. What chance? You haven't answered my question. Ready, Rangers, they're coming again. She's getting her ass beat by the undead army. Her troops got blown up by the bomb she planted. The Silver Moon needs to be warned. She will die. Shut up. I don't need your help. You need my help. I don't need your help. You need my help. You don't need my... Okay, I need your help. Overmind didn't respond. Ground started to shake and crack. Gigantic worm shot out. The elves fell onto their buds. Their buds.
Shh.
Jeez. The colon just can't catch a break.
Mm-mm.
While the worm settled onto the ground, worm opened its mouth, spitting out insects, insect hounds, insect snakes, cockroaches. The what? No, the roach would not...
Now,
the roach was a post-Brood War evolution.
Yeah. Now, I will say this, as much as I hate to admit it, there is technically, if you count Easter eggs...
So was the Nidus worms, actually.
Yes, they were. I would say, technically speaking, if you count Easter eggs as canon, technically speaking, there is support for there being Zerg on Azeroth.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not commenting on that part.
No,
I'm just commenting on the part where the evolutions, certain evolution lines.
No, I fully agree with you.
Yeah.
I did just want to bring that up.
Okay, yeah.
Technically speaking, there is support for that. If you can, because I believe it's actually on the mission where you're destroying the Night Elves' forest that you can get a Hydralisk as a unit.
Yes, you can.
And that thing's OP shit.
Yes, it is.
But yeah, no. Even if this is set post Brood War, that doesn't matter because that hive's been cut off. They wouldn't have access to the mutations.
Yeah, they wouldn't. Even then, even the resurrected state, because remember, the UED resurrected the Overmind before the Brood War started.
Well, yeah.
Them resurrecting the Overmind was the cause of the Brood War, or well, happened right before the Brood War started, technically speaking. So even then, the Overmind being resurrected, it died at the end of the Brood War, and the roaches didn't exist, Nidus worms didn't exist. Well, technically speaking, I guess you could say that the Leviathans and Nidus worms might have existed. Because, I mean, Leviathans obviously did exist because they were the canonical way of how the Zerg moved around.
Yeah.
You could say maybe the Nidus worms did exist pre StarCraft 2 era, but simply just were not a unit that was used in the game. Because, I mean, it wouldn't make sense for some form of quick travel for the Zerg to evolve it, because, you know, they're fucking ancient and shit.
But things like roaches
the roach queens, all that shit. Yeah.
I was gonna say, hell, fast hydralisks.
Oh yeah, no, like that was all stuff purposely directed by the Queen of the Zerg. Even assuming everything is fine, you still have the problem of putting a sci-fi franchise into a fantasy setting. Yeah, I was actually about to bring that up, which is why the Hydralisk is OP in Warcraft 3. You gotta keep in mind, fucking Marines are shooting 12mm rounds out of Gauss guns, yeah. And fucking Hydralisks can eat those. And they shoot spikes which do equivalent or more damage than those 12.7 rounds. So, that is a significant amount of stopping power in a world where the arrow was the latest invention.
I mean, to be fair, they also had magic, but still.
Well, yes, they did have magic, but that added effects to the arrow. That didn't make the arrow pierce, feet of armor, like the Hydralisk spine could. Remember, canonically speaking, Hydralisk scythes could rip open Terran tanks.
Well, I was gonna say, not only just that, size-wise.
Oh, yeah.
Hydralisk was like, what, 2 people?
Size-wise, Hydralisk, yeah, was taller than a Marine who was roughly around 8 feet tall. They were around on their hunched-over state. I think it was like 10 feet. Total length of like 20 feet or something.
If you look at when they put in the HD cutscene,
the Hydralisk was massive. Yeah, significantly taller than the Marine. Like I said, I would say around 10. An extra 2 feet on him. In the hunched over state, easily.
Oh no, I'm talking about the HD scene they put in where Kerrigan.
Oh yes, Kerrigan. Yeah, the Zerg were massive.
I was gonna say that's the thing. Like people don't talk about this, but like the reason Zerglings are so terrifying is because a Zergling comes up to like waist height.
Oh yeah, no,
Marine.
Yeah, like I remember the cutscene where they hit the Zergling with the Jeep. It was like the size of a fucking moose.
Well, I was gonna say the opening to StarCraft 1, with the Marines hiding in the trench and the Zerglings are coming at him.
Oh yeah,
and he gets saved by the
Firebat. Yeah.
Yeah, the Firebat.
Yeah.
And it's like, where's the reinforcements? There aren't any.
Yeah.
But what are those ships? That's the air support, right? They're leaving.
Yeah.
And we're all going to die. Fuck you.
Yeah, this was actually a conversation I got into with, we're probably going to cover his fanfictions eventually, because some of them are pretty bad. Leaf Ranger. He wanted to bring StarCraft into Naruto. And I was like...
retarded.
Yeah, I was trying to tell him, I'm like, look, dude, fucking StarCraft is because he wanted the Zerg to invade Naruto's world, and then he wanted to have the Confederacy show up and turn Naruto into a ghost / specter.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was like, look, dude.
Nothing indicates that he has any psionic potential, but okay.
Yeah, he was gonna do this whole thing with chakras, psionic power.
Oh, that's so dumb.
Yeah, but anyway, my main point to him was numbers. The numbers game is literally Zerg numbered in the millions when they swarmed a world, and they could take it in days. And that was against an armed resistance of Marines and tanks and shit. Like, within hours, it is canonical they can cover a world in creep.
I was gonna say, yeah, like, the reason James Raynor needed the help of the oh my gosh, I forgot what they were called, the Sons of Korhal.
Yeah.
Was because without them, the Zerg would have overrun that planet in literal hours.
Only mildly hurting, yeah. The last time I looked up StarCraft fanfiction was back when Wings of Liberty was about to come out. And I read a story called Her Body's Plaything. And it basically described Heart of the Swarm. Like,
3 years before Heart of the Swarm was even an idea in people's minds. And it was an amazing story, completed too. Amazing story.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway.
But so you know what? Because this is the bonus stream, and I will be leaving soon, and I'm sure Sneak will be leaving soon after that.
I mean, I'll keep going probably until the end of this.
Here's the thing. So we're gonna give some actual writing advice.
Yeah. So this story did end. So yeah, we're just gonna continue on with talking.
Well, I was gonna say. So we'll just do some actual writing advice here.
Yeah. Bonus round.
I was gonna say this is mostly advice for fan fiction, although it is applicable if you're writing your own thing.
Yeah.
So, when you're combining subject matters, you have to ask yourself, does this completely neuter or make irrelevant one of the things I'm putting in?
Yeah. That is something I brought up with Leaf Ranger. Again, I'm going to use the StarCraft, his StarCraft Naruto example.
Well, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. You talking about StarCraft and Naruto brought it up, but like, and that's one of the points. The problem is, as awesome and as impressive as ninjas are, they literally couldn't fight the Zerg.
Yeah, and like the main thing is behind all that is he was also saying, oh, you know, maybe they would also fight the Confederacy too. I'm like, but the problem there is stone, no matter how fast, isn't going to pierce fucking siege tank armor. The best they could do to a siege tank would be bury it.
No, they could flip it.
Yeah, I guess they could flip it. But that's still not destroying the tank. That's just taking it out of combat until a Marine can come over and flip it back over.
It would take several Marines to do that, let's be honest.
I mean, yeah, but, you know, the point still stands.
Yes.
Or maybe an SCV. But, you know, like, I highly doubt they could even pierce Space Marine armor.
Yeah. Maybe if they were, like, cutting with pure chakra, maybe.
I wouldn't even say water pressure, pressurized water would be their best bet, but I doubt there's enough people out there to even make it effective. Because again, one of the main points is, and this is actually a big point in sci-fi versus fantasy, is the number game. In sci-fi, you typically have far larger armies than you do in fantasy, because sci-fi typically takes place in the future, where there's billions of people on each planet at minimum.
You say, and not only are there billions of people on each planet, but you have things like actual lines of supply.
I mean, not even that. You gotta keep in mind, with the Naruto-verse, the estimated population is anywhere, in total, from 100,000 to 500,000 people.
Holy shit, that's so low.
In total.
That's so low.
Yeah. And you have 500,000 people easily in, like, a detachment from the Confederacy alone.
Yeah.
Which is what I was trying to get across to Leaf Ranger. He eventually did dropping the story, because he was like, yeah, you're right. It just would not be possible. It just would not be worth it. And this goes frankly applies to anything with sci-fi versus fantasy, because fantasy typically takes place in medieval Europe, medieval Europe time period-esque stuff, at best. I mean, of course you have Dresden and shit, but that's not the typical fantasy.
Well, I was gonna say, first off, Dresden isn't typical fantasy, and B, it's handled very well, because first of all, Dresden, as far in the future as Dresden is relative to most fantasy, it only deals with modern times.
Yeah.
And I can believe that someone with magic powers can create, shields of hardened air and stuff, especially the way that Dresden does it, which is specifically making a bunch of essentially rounded hexagons.
Oh, okay, we do have a more concrete in the anime. Okay, in the anime they mentioned this. 120k.
I'm sorry, what?
Okay. So from 10%. Okay, so maybe 1 million people in total. Then, Isley gave a number saying that in Naruto they gave a number of how many allied shinobi there were in total, and there's like roughly like 10% of the population was ninjas, so about 1 million population. But still, that's not much. That's like
no.
You know, 120k ninjas in total with about 1 million total population with civilians. That's not a large population. And then this is the thing, is fantasy stories, again, like I said, this goes back to the medieval Europe part. Fantasy stories take place during that time period, and there you can go to any population graph in world statistics, and you'll see around the 1900s, with the advances in medicine and communication and supply line technologies that we acquired, the population drastically increased, like almost cliff face level of increase.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, one of the things, again, I'm going back to the time because it's a pretty good fantasy series. One of the things that it talks about is the guy, the guy who's essentially fantasy Jesus, and is gathering all the nations to him. They talk about how before he came, big armies were 5,000, 6,000. But because he was uniting, so many different groups, and more importantly, he was uniting entire countries under him.
Yeah.
It was armies in the tens of thousands, even sometimes numbering into the hundreds.
Yeah.
And people were like, it's like, I've got such a small force, I've only got about 10,000 men with me. And he's like, fucking hell, I can remember when 5,000 was a good-sized army.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, yeah. That's the thing, is you also have to keep in mind with most sci-fi stories is that the level of technology that changes how much a man can kill. Like, a person spends their entire life training with a sword, and they can kill maybe 5 people in the heat of battle before they get, caught by surprise or they get too tired.
Yeah,
and then they die.
Or even like a truly skilled bowman. They can kill maybe
as many arrows as they can carry.
Assuming they're left alone, and an infinite supply of arrows.
Yeah.
Which, a truly master archer can do maybe 3-4 shots a second.
But that's assuming that they're all standing still. You got to make sure you're not hitting your allies. You got to make sure you're hitting like key points to kill them. And
Yeah.
And you got to keep in mind, though, is a lot of medieval armors, and especially in fantasy stories, magics, are guarding weak points. And there's very few weak points that an archer can actually hit. It's why they fucking invented the crossbow. Because it was both easier to use in terms of training time, and you could give it to more people because you need to be trained less in it, and it fucking pierced plate, which was a big problem.
Yeah. But again, so going back to our original point, one of the things you have to ask when you're writing a story is the thing I'm going to introduce, whether you're doing a crossover or writing your own original fiction, is the thing I'm introducing going to make something else completely and utterly irrelevant? And if yes, am I doing that on purpose?
Yeah,
do I have a way to deal with that?
Yeah,
because again, one of the things that happens in Wheel of Time, there's this people, they're called the Illuminators, and they know how to make fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
But because they can make a lot of money off of doing, fireworks shows, because no one else can do them, obviously they're super secretive and they don't let anyone know about it.
Of course.
But there's a guy who, he gets his hands on some fireworks and blah, blah, blah. He figures out gunpowder. And he makes guns. And he doesn't make guns. He makes cannons.
Mm.
And it's an incredibly big and important arc about how he's essentially allowing any army to compete with any army that might have magicians in it, because now any army can, kill dozens of men at a time from 2 miles away.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is technology is a force multiplier, like I was saying leading up to. So you got the swordsman who can kill maybe 5 people. You got the archer who can kill more if they're left alone. You got the crossbowman who's able to kill heavier units. But as we saw in World War One, technology was a force multiplier never before realized. I mean, yes, you had guns before World War One, but they still used cavalry. They still used various old, medieval level things until World War One for a good reason. The machine gun annihilated cavalry, annihilated charging armies.
No longer could you sprint across the field to engage the enemy, because if you tried that,
one man literally could kill hundreds in the span of seconds.
And that's not even getting started on how trenches were, trenches were these impregnable things that could not be taken without obscene cost of life, and then someone invented a tank.
Yeah, and technically they were called land ships for a while.
Okay,
but,
I know, land ships, yeah. But they were tanks.
Yeah, I know.
They were tanks, and suddenly these, these nigh-on impregnable holes in the ground that men died by the thousands to take, suddenly could be taken by 4 or 5 pieces of metal.
Overrunning them, yeah. And obviously arms racing. But, and that's the point when it comes to, Dresden doesn't deal with military-level technology.
No, he does. Sometimes.
Sometimes, but it's not like, it's not a key part of it, because it does more or less render magic less useful. It renders magic less...
I'm gonna drop a spoiler for the Dresden Files.
Well,
so.
It's been out for a while, so yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's been out for a while, but... So I'm just saying this right now, spoiler alert for anyone here, gonna spoil something in the Dresden Files. When he agrees to become the Winter Knight,
yeah,
he goes to Kincaid, and because he once asked Kincaid, if you had to kill a magician, how would you do it? And Kincaid says, oh, that's easy.
Sure.
I would be 2 miles away with a sniper rifle.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to do anything, and you can't even level your death curse at me.
Exactly.
And when he becomes the Winter Knight and he wants Kincaid to kill him, that's what he has Kincaid do. Now, it doesn't work because Mab interferes,
yeah,
but it takes a literal god-level being to stop that from happening, and he still pretty much dies anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, though, that goes back to the original point. Make sure you're not introducing something that will nullify something else unless you're doing it on purpose to make a point. There's a reason why you don't see too many sci-fi fantasy stories in terms of magic. It's because if you're writing a sci-fi story about the future with ships and shit flying around, a ship that can shoot any form of gun to hit another ship in space, likely extremely powerful. Shooting that gun onto a planet could, depending on the gun's size, of course, wipe out cities. The ability to point a stick at someone and go, you die now, kind of, doesn't mean much. When you're just like, yeah, I just wiped out a city by firing once.
Like, sure, shooting lightning is cool and all, but...
Yeah, Gate's a good example of that, yeah. Gate, despite my opinions and some other people's opinions on it, Gate is a good example of, why sci-fi does not mix well with fantasy.
And that's not even sci-fi.
Yeah, but it's a good representative of it.
Yes, I'm just saying, take that and multiply it by 100. Well, you can say, pretty much one of the only franchises that has magic successfully interact with technology is, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, 40K.
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah.
And the only reason it works in 40K is because they can literally reshape reality as they see fit, as long as they are strong enough and willing to pay the price.
Yeah.
So sure, that guy's got a spaceship that can go through the warp and annihilate cities with single shots.
But
I can still destroy that.
But see, the thing is, though, is 40K realizes that
and literally works on the trillion scale in terms of fights that occur.
Yeah.
As they're like, okay, yeah, magic exists, and it can kill, like, you know, X amount of people, but literally trillions of people are fighting every day.
Yeah. Now, it does need to be said that in the 40k universe, magic is powerful and destructive enough to make a difference, as evidenced by the fact that the Tyranids don't have artillery. They just have psychers.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
And while the orcs might have more traditional artillery options,
They
they
also
also
have
just have the weird boys.
Yeah. In fact, the Imperium of Man employs the least amount of magic, and they actually are the quote-unquote most effective nation still in 40k.
Who is?
The Imperium of Man. I say quote-unquote most effective nation because the Eldar are on the brink of dying out. The Orcs can't hold sectors. The Tyranids sort of hold sectors, but they get pushed out pretty often. The Imperium of Man is the only faction, and then the Necrons and the Tau really don't take territory. Because they can't. Or in the Necrons' case, they don't. Because they guard the worlds, and that's all they do. The Imperium of Man is the only faction that holds a majority of the galaxy.
And even then, they don't hold much of it because it's all bombed to hell.
Yeah. But you know, they still are, quote-unquote, the most effective at holding territory. I mean, yes, they do play the numbers game on the level of the Tyranids, but they still hold the most territory.
Yes.
And they employ the least amount of magic in terms of large scale.
Yes.
But, yeah, anyway. So yeah, sci-fi, magic and technology, not too good together. To branch off at this point, since we've talked about it so much, is another thing I've seen a lot is people nerfing one thing or buffing one thing based on their opinions or their preferences when they do a crossover.
Like, I would rather
example, XCOM and Fallout crossing over into Mass Effect. Naruto crossing over into other things. I'll see one being stronger than the other because, you know, the author likes the Mass Effect universe more than they like the XCOM universe, or the other way around. And it's sort of frustrating. And I did share the sentiments of one of the authors who wrote a prototype Mass Effect crossover. In that they were talking about, you see a lot of authors, especially with Halo. This is a big problem.
Oh god, Halo.
I've seen a couple authors, and I might bring those stories up if I ever find them again. Halo had this big problem with Mass Effect crossovers, in that you would see authors write it one of two ways. The Halo ships dominate the shit out of Mass Effect, or the Mass Effect ships dominate the shit out of Halo. In honesty,
I mean,
it would be more of an even trade. Because, again, the Halo ships, while they have no shielding, have a fuck ton of armor and shoot really big guns.
I was gonna say, and in fact, your average UNSC ship would fare better against a Mass Effect ship than the average Covenant vessel.
Yep, that's true.
Because the average Mass Effect ship, because Mass Effect ships still use kinetic rounds.
Yeah.
Now, the average UNSC ship is still going to have a difficult time gutting one of them. That's absolutely true. But the fact is...
Well, no, the main thing is, though, is the guns are slow on UNSC ships. They don't fire quickly. They fire big fuck-off rounds that hit really fucking hard, but they're not quick to track, like... You've read the books, I've read the books. Firing solution in 30 seconds.
And that's it. And that's a good time.
Yeah, like the ships aren't moving that fast in the Halo verse. They're moving slow enough for a big fuck-off 200mm gun to turn and aim at it.
Yeah, Now, the other thing I want to say is this.
Well, Mass Effect ships are very agile, and it's basically dogfighting in the Mass Effect verse.
Yeah. But the other side of that would be, they only have to hit them once, and again, the UNSC ships were originally designed to combat other UNSC ships,
exactly.
Stolen ones. But so, I'm trying to think, what is it? That the Normandy shows up with its, relatively speaking, piddly little mass driver.
Well, I mean, so that is the thing, though. Is you got to keep in mind, though.
You shoot that at the Pillar of Autumn.
Is the Mass Effect verse does have the advantage of, while they have smaller guns, they are moving faster because of the mass effect.
Right, but I'm just saying,
it's a yes, I realize what you're saying is.
I'm just saying the average UNSC ship is actually going to fare great because they're designed to withstand impacts like that.
Yes.
From my
much point though was
rounds.
It's common that I see XCOM ships show up, or Halo ships show up, or, Fallout ships show up, and they just blast away the Mass Effect ships. And just
the Mass Effect ships show up and they just blast away the
which is even
ships.
dumber. But, the main thing is I want to touch on two things. Plasma and, agility versus strength.
Okay.
So, plasma is kinetic impact plus radiation and heat.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes plasma deadly. Is the fact that once it hits you, which it hits pretty hard, if you don't have shielding, it melts the hull.
Burn through.
Yeah. But the problem is, if you do have shielding, a la Mass Effect, the kinetic shielding would this is a key thing. If the kinetic shielding activates on the plasma ball, it would destabilize the kinetic force of the plasma ball, causing it to burst, and emitting heat and radiation. Two things that are highly ineffective in space. They need to be hitting something directly to do the damage that they do. And this was the point that the guy was making. The guy was making in one of the stories I read. Is in space versus a Mass Effect ship, if you could even hit it with plasma in the first place. Because keep in mind, a plasma weapon is actually fairly slow moving. And in fact, UNSC ships dodged it in the books.
To a limited degree.
Not often, and usually the smaller ones, but they still technically could.
And I do want to point out that even if, Captain Keyes, who was oh yeah, I can dodge plasma pretty regularly, still had to contend with the fact that if they dodged too early, the Covenant ships could just bring the plasma back around.
Yeah, but that proves my point, though, is the plasma was moving fairly slowly, all things considered, for space.
Yes.
Mass Effect ships move extremely quick. Laser weapons and faster-than-light shots is what they are primed to fight against. And in Mass Effect verse, laser weapons are pretty much point defense only.
Yeah.
So unless the Fallout ships and the XCOM ships were using lasers instead of plasma, because everyone has a fucking hard-on for plasma, they wouldn't kill Mass Effect ships. They just wouldn't. Because plasma shots are slow and would activate if they activated on the shielding. So not only are the Mass Effect ships likely to dodge them in the first place, if they were moving fast enough to activate the shielding, which they probably would, considering that the kinetic shielding is likely there and also tuned to the level of asteroid speeds, which is roughly, I guess you could say, slower than a plasma ball being directed.
Yes.
So I would assume that the plasma ball would activate on the shielding. The shielding would barely take a hit, because the kinetic impact behind a plasma ball is fairly low, all things considered.
Yeah.
And so mostly, unless they were using kinetic weaponry or lasers, the Mass Effect ships would have the upper hand. Now this is where the UNSC comes in with the strength versus agility thing. Is with the UNSC, they have strength. Mass Effect ships have agility. If you hit a Mass Effect ship, it's fucking gone. It's like cut in half and disintegrated.
I was gonna say, it's not even cut in half. It will be based on the size of the average ship, like,
Yeah.
Unless it's something that's like a big old, like, ooh, this is one of our most impressive, powerful ships, like, what's the
Destiny
thing you
Ascension.
can choose to save in Mass Effect 1?
Destiny Ascension. Their biggest ship.
Yeah, unless it's like
Their
the
biggest
Ascension.
ship, which, by the way, was about the size of a mid-level Halo cruiser.
Yeah, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, like, a UNSC ship of the line...
A 40K Star Trek
that.
crossover. Wow.
A UNSC ship of the line could gut that with, like, one shot, if it hits.
I actually did the math before, because I was getting tired of all these Halo Mass Effect crossovers that weren't doing it right. The Infinity is a third of the size of the Citadel.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't fuck around. Yeah, no, the Destiny Ascension is like 2.5 meters long, 2.5k meters long, which is like the size of like a Dreadnought, I think it was.
Hold on.
No, not Dreadnought.
Okay, hold on.
Battleship?
I'm gonna look up the Destiny Ascension. You look up the...
Yep.
Alright, let's see. What does the Mass Effect wiki have for me? It's a starship of stunning power, blah, blah, blah. The Ascension is 4 times the size of the largest human ship, boasts a crew of nearly 10,000.
That doesn't help me.
There is, like, no information on this.
Alright, so the Pillar of Autumn is estimated to be roughly around 1.1 kilometers long. And that was a fairly small ship.
I'm sorry, what was?
Pillar of Autumn.
Oh, yeah. The Autumn was it. Now, granted, the Autumn is stronger than it seems, blah, 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 tons of refits.
Yeah.
Alright, so, yeah. A heavy carrier was 2.5k meters.
Yeah.
A heavy cruiser was 1.1, which was the Pillar of Autumn. What was the size of Destiny Ascension? Did you find that?
No, okay, see if you can find the size of the biggest human ship, because it says that the Destiny Ascension is 4 times the size of that.
That's not very helpful.
Yeah, I know, but that's the only sizing measurement I can find. Alright, here's one of those big ol'... It's one of those big old starship charts. Mass Effect size comparison. Are you gonna be helpful? Okay, I might be able to read this, but it's tiny as hell, so... Here we go, okay. Okay, the Super Dreadnought, which is what I assume is...
Yeah, that's the Destiny Ascension.
Length, 1,002 meters. It's got a width of 1,694 meters and a height of 1,952 meters.
Alright, so Dreadnoughts in Mass Effect were around 1,800 to 1,000 meters long. So the largest ships in Mass Effect are roughly the size of a heavy cruiser in Halo.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, like...
And the Destiny Ascension is roughly around 4, then. Because it says it's 4 times larger than the largest human ship.
No, I just read off the official measurements.
Oh, what was it then?
Hold on, I gotta pull it back up. The Destiny Ascension. Okay, so it was 1,002 meters long, 1,694 meters wide.
Okay.
And 1,952 meters tall.
Okay, so yeah, it was their biggest ship in Mass Effect was the size of a heavy cruiser in Halo.
Like an actual Halo dreadnought, whether human or Covenant, is it dwarfs that.
Absolute, like a heavy cruiser to give you that's not the size list. God damn it. Cruisers are only a size level higher. Oh wait, no. It goes Corvette, Destroyer, Cruiser, Dreadnought, Battleship. Or is it Battleship Dreadnought?
I don't know.
Either way, Cruiser isn't that large of a ship, all things considered. Carriers are even bigger. So, the largest cruiser class is the size of a super dreadnought.
I was gonna say, and that's not even taking into account some of the super ships in Halo, like
the Infinity, yeah.
Well, not just the Infinity, but I was talking about even before the war, like
the Forerunner ship, the
Well, not just the Forerunner ship. I'm saying like just during the Human Covenant War, before they had things like the Infinity. I'm talking about things like the Unyielding Hierophant.
Oh yeah, the super carriers.
The super carriers, or some of the human flag, like Hood's flagship.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was, I believe, it was also a super carrier.
Yeah, but that's the point though, is and the armor on some of these ships was feet thick.
I was gonna say, and that's not even getting into the fact that after you have multiple feet of titanium plating,
titanium alloy plating,
titanium alloy plating, you have, because it became pretty common after the Pillar of Autumn, and people saw how much of a beating it took. It became very common to bring back this massive
style,
interconnected, honeycombed structure that could take an obscene beating.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, so even if the Mass Effect ships could get through the plating on the much larger ships, which is questionable.
I mean, you gotta keep in mind, fucking the Covenant barely even attempted to destroy the Infinity. Its armor was so thick, the Covenant were just like, yeah, the plasma's not really gonna do much. Like, if you see the Infinity, you just run, because one of its gun, like, the Infinity rammed a super carrier.
And won.
Not even one. It was just like, oh, I think I hit a bug.
That is one of my favorite things that came from Halo 4, the special edition of the box. It was great. Like, they included all this awesome stuff, and at the very end, it was such a tiny thing, but it was an Infinity. It was an Infinity like it would have been tacked up on the billboard. It was like the Infinity shipboard events thing.
Yeah.
And one of the things, first of all, for the monthly poker tournament,
how big did you say the UNSC ships are? Well, the heavy... Sorry, Isley was asking how big the ships were.
No, go ahead.
The heavy carrier was 2.5. The heavy cruiser was 1.1. And the frigate, the largest frigate, was around 500.
I was gonna say, and that's not counting their big stick, the Infinity, which was, I think it was... It was, I know it was like 2.5 miles long.
Yeah, they had a massive.
No, the Infinity was just.
They had it. It had its own Amtrak.
Yeah, well, that's what I was about to say. The big prize for the Infinity monthly poker night was priority seating on the intership tram.
Yeah. Jesus, I cannot find. Where did the size chart go?
UNSC Infinity.
Covenant vehicles, major structures. The Covenant assault carriers were 5. Covenant cruisers were 1.7.
No, okay, so Sneaky. The Infinity was 5,694.2 meters long.
Yeah.
Again, putting in mind that the Destiny Ascension, the biggest ship.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. 40K ships were like they dwarf every other ship in every other sci-fi.
Oh, 40K.
Like I said though previously, is 40K fully realized what kind of futuristic technology would do when you're playing the numbers game, and so they went full out the numbers game. They just went like, oh yeah, fuck off massive ships. Literally crewed by millions of people. Maybe not millions, but
like
up there.
No, it's like, this is your Dauntless light cruiser. It exploded, and hold on. You know what? Let me look up.
Yeah, it was like 100,000 people on manning the guns alone or something.
Yeah, hold on. So the Dauntless light cruiser 40K, which first of all, I want to point out, I love 40K. Its ships have some of the most retarded design ever.
Okay, so the Forerunner ship was 14 kilometers.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Infinity, the biggest functioning super ship in Halo, is 5,000. We'll call it 6,000 meters.
Yeah, light cruisers tend to dive cruise in the thousands. Yeah, but
the Infinity was 5,694, which is at least 3,000 meters on the largest ship in Mass Effect.
Yeah, and that I actually have seen Mass Effect 40Ks where they're like, "Oh my god, that's such a big ship! Holy fuck!" Yeah, it's a light assault cruiser. And and then they fire a gun, and they're like, "Oh my god, that was the main gun." Oh no, that was just like a side armament. Fire the spinal.
Yeah. Okay. No. Okay. So the Dauntless light cruiser is 4.5 kilometers long, 5.5 kilometers a beam at the fins.
Yeah, so a Dauntless light cruiser was roughly the size of the Infinity.
Yeah, a Dauntless light cruiser had 65,000 crew members.
Yeah. And that was without, battalion stationed in it and whatnot.
Like, that's just service personnel.
Yeah. Yeah. This is what I was talking about, though, is when you have Mass Effect ships going up against this level of crap.
Speaking of which, side note, when we're done here, can you send me some decent 40K Mass Effect, or is there, like, none?
There is, like, I've sent you all the ones that were even updating remotely around the time I sent you them. None of the Mass Effect 40K stuff has updated since then, and I'm really hesitant to go into that section again because it was just filled with so much crap. I had to sift through so much garbage.
I was gonna say, tell you what, when we're done here, we'll brave it together.
Alright.
After I eat and watch the EG game.
Yeah, no problem.
Anyway, let's finish this up because I've stayed for an hour longer than I wanted to.
Yeah, no problem. So anyway, we've talked about sci-fi and fantasy. We've talked about size differences. We've talked about technological effects on the story. Any good ones? I've only found like 2 good ones. Isley says. Crossovers or Warhammer fics in general. The Warhammer crossover with Mass Effect where they're all orcs, where the humans are actually orcs.
That one's amazing.
That was fantastic. Has not updated in forever. I've seen 2 okay ones, where either it was a guard captain ended up in Mass Effect and got picked up by a Mass Effect 2's crew. And a Farseer also ended up there.
Poor Mass Effect soldiers. Stuck with a guard captain.
And then there was one where the Sisters of Battle ended up in the Mass Effect world, and they're like, let's go start up a chapel on a moon.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It ended about as well as you thought it would, which was fabulous.
I will say this. I think it would be hilarious, absolutely hilarious, to see how Sisters of Battle react to the Asari. Ooh, you're a big, strong woman. I want me some of that.
Heretic! Boom!
Begone, Falzinos!
Begone, thought!
But don't you want to have a kid with us? You what?
Yeah. Unfortunately, Isley, like I said previously, I mean, on next Tuesday, I'll maybe have a list for you guys. Anyone else, watching this later, I'll have a list for anyone that wants to read if we find any good ones that have recently updated. But I would not keep your hopes up, as a majority of the 40K section is pretty cringy. And the Mass Effect fans really haven't updated because Andromeda was such a massive flop that it made everyone's dicks go so soft they're probably going to need Viagra to get hard again.
I was going to say, let's not forget that Earthshaker just got crit hard.
Yes, he just got deleted.
No, I mean, now he's been deleted, but he did technically survive the crit.
That is true.
Anyway, I'll say this. This is not necessarily the authors, like the fanfiction authors' faults that the 40K stuff ends up becoming cringy, because let's be real, even some of the officially licensed and public works.
Yeah, no,
it's cringy. Because 40K in and of itself is bad.
Yeah, 40K is pretty cringy in of itself. I think that's the main problem, though, is beginning authors aren't the best at writing, obviously. No fault on them for that. However, a big part of that, though, is knowing... I think this is how we should end it. Mm-hmm. A big part of writing is knowing your limits.
Indeed. Like, for instance, I know that I'm terrible at writing dialogue, which is why I have people like Max help me.
Well, not even that. If you're going to be bad at dialogue, write a more action-focused story.
Yeah.
But for me, for example, because I'm a pretty good example for most of the problems with writing. I started off attempting to write what I thought could have been a massive spanning fanfiction series. This was before Dark Souls. This was back in high school. This is ages ago. And the problem was I started off. I thought I could start off in the middle of the story, introduce the characters, and then tell their story, and then go. Yeah. No. The problem was I was a beginning author. I didn't know how to outline. I didn't know how to set up everything. I didn't know how to write compelling characters. And my story suffered for it greatly, and I ended up losing the will to continue writing it. Because I was daunted when I finally realized the size of the task before me. I was so daunted that I ended up having to discontinue it. Because I wanted to do things like world building, character development. This was obviously a Pokemon fanfiction, because Pokemon. It's pretty much everyone's first thoughts. I was gonna make a gritty world of Pokemon where all the lore text comes into play, and it's not just like the happy-go-lucky game. And bad things would happen, and world building would occur, and there'd be plots, and there would be action and character building, and all this wonderful stuff. And it sounded fucking amazing in my head, but when I tried to actually write it down, I couldn't. Because I didn't know enough. I didn't prepare enough. I didn't actually look at the scope of what I was attempting to do.
Yeah.
And that's what made it a shitty story. And I think that's a problem that a lot of people suffer from. Is they don't look at the scope of what they're attempting to do. It's why crack stories have a higher tendency to be good. It's because you don't need a lot of scope for a crack story. You don't need a lot of outline for a crack story. There's not a lot of preparation you need to do, typically, for a crack story. As more often than not...
Whenever we get around to writing that stupid shopkeeper fic, it'll be hilarious.
Yeah, and because more often... Because, I mean, we're actually putting a lot of effort into that one in terms of thinking about all the shit.
Yes,
but more often than not, it's, you know, an overpowered character going around and raffle-stomping people, or a really silly situation set up, and, you know, everything that just happens, it happens for the lulz, and you just roll with how it goes.
Like Inquisitor Caro.
Yeah, like Inquisitor Caro. Or, I mean, that's more of a serious story. It's becoming more of a serious story than it was cracky.
Okay, yes, but it originally started off...
Yeah, it originally started as a cracky story.
Wherein the base concept was, what if Harry Potter was a space marine? Like a 40k space marine.
And the nice thing about it, about cracky stories at least, is it gets you the writing experience you need. Because people obviously will take cracky stories less seriously, and it's a good way to learn how to write, and it's a good way to learn how to plan. Because cracky stories with a good plot and a good outline are fucking mind-blowingly hilarious and fun to read. And they're usually fun for the authors to write as well, because it's lighthearted. You're not... that's a good mental state to be in, because a lot of these serious and dark and grimdarky stories, depression is typically a common trait in those authors.
I was going to say, if you look at the people who have to write the 40k lore, they don't keep authors around for that. Not because authors aren't good, but because I'm pretty sure after the guy who wrote the Horus Heresy finished, I'm pretty sure he had to check himself into an asylum for depression. I'm joking about that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
For example, for me, I wrote a story on sufficient velocity. It was a worm fanfic that took place solely on forms, and it was a cracky-ish what-if scenario of what if, you know, the various internet memes of, you know, Slender Man, The Rake, and Smiling Jack and all that shit, and, you know, SCP slowly started to leak into the Wormverse. Yeah, it was basically a form, like I would show like form threads, and, you know, it was people's reactions to it, people trying to organize against it, etc., etc.
Right. Anyway.
And it was a dark, depressing narrative, and I couldn't write it now because I'm no longer that depressed. I'm no longer in that mental state, and trying to get back into that is not something I would ever recommend for people, really.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway,
we've said everything
we've babbled on long enough. It's not exactly what I was hoping for my grand reopening of
but it was exactly what the people deserved and expected.
It was exactly what the people deserved. I suppose so. They did choose to be here, and they did choose to watch this, and they did choose to interact with us. Highly recommend Inquisitor Caro. He's got a slow update rate, but he's got a pretty significant chunk of the story somewhat done. He's moving off the rails into more of his own section, so it's going to be slower rate. But he's mostly got the Harry Potter angle done.
Sneaky. The rails have long been jumped since Book 4 started.
Oh, I know, but my point was with Inquisitor Caro is that they finished up the Harry Potter sections more or less, and they're mostly moving into their own arcs, their own personal arcs that diverge from Harry Potter in terms of plot occurrence.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, we've babbled long enough. If you want to hear... Yeah, goodbye, Atin. I'll do the closing.
I'm not leaving yet. I'm just saying goodnight.
If you want to hear more of us, I don't know why you would, but if you did, you can come check us out on our YouTube page, if you're not already there. Twitch people. Or if you want to catch us live, you can join us on Tuesdays and Fridays, barring unforeseen circumstances, at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We typically go around 2 hours. This is a bit of a special one. And we typically cover the fanfictions you saw early on. We aren't prone to going into these level of rants and advice, but we do tend to do that from time to time during the fanfictions themselves, which is when we turn the rant mode on. But regardless, this is SneakyDevil and Atin, signing off, and we hope you have a good night. Work on that alcoholism, boys and girls.
All this trash.
This is our longest stream so far, I do believe, 3 hours and 30 minutes. Anyway, peace out. Enjoy fanfiction while you still can, and goodbye.